Okay. Mhm.
Yo! What is up, guys? How many of you guys are excited? I know that music is beautiful, right? Best starting ever. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We have 94 people in here. And it's only going to get crazier because this is going to be a very, very, very special stream, you guys. So, first of all, hi, okay. Hey guys, so I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Thank you all so much for coming out to this very special stream. I really appreciate it. The chat is going crazy right now, and I hope you guys are just as excited as I am. Because we do have a very special guest with us, and I think he is here. I don't know. Maybe he's here. Who knows? Maybe he would like to say something. Wait, he's not saying anything. He's keeping you guys anticipated, suspensed.
Hey guys, sorry about that.
Hey, can you guys hear him okay? Joey, go ahead and introduce yourself and we'll see if the stream can hear you.
Alright, well, I'm Joey. I'm also known as Sir Max in Toontown. A lot of you guys see the blog posts and everything. My job is, community management. I help organize the updates. I do all sorts of stuff with the website and videos. I was the one who edited that new animation that we just released. My job mainly is just making sure that the community is entertained and that everyone's having a good time in Toontown.
And we are here today to keep you guys entertained for like the next 2 hours or something like that. So
yeah.
Thank you to everyone who's hosting and following. I probably won't be able to acknowledge you, but we appreciate it, and I'm glad to have all of you guys here. So there is going to be a way that you guys can get your questions answered, and that is through this Reddit page right here. If you go to the Toontown Rewritten Reddit page, you'll be able to see this post. It's stickied, so it should be able to be seen at the top of the Reddit page. It's the Toontown Rewritten subreddit, and we already have tons and tons and tons of questions coming in, and I hope you guys are going to keep those questions coming because we are going to be answering as many as we can. So get excited, get your questions in, because we're going to be answering a lot of them. But that's not all we're going to do. We're not just going to sit here and answer questions and make this a boring stream. We're going to be doing stuff as the event goes on. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop on to Toontown right now first, before we get questions started. And again, thank you to those of you who are following. I really appreciate it. We're kind of keeping things a little sophisticated, except my dog is... I don't know what my dog is doing, but okay. So we are going to meet. I'm going to set up a district. Let's go to Bliss Bayou at Toontown Central. And let's go ahead and do like a Bean Fest. I think that would be tons of fun. A Bean Fest sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, lots of people need those jelly beans for doodles.
For doodles, indeed. So Sir Max will be joining me in game. He's actually right there. There he is. He'll be joining us in game. He'll be doing boss battles with you guys. He'll be hosting the Beanfest with me. He's basically like my co-host for the stream, if you think about it. So I hope you guys are excited. There he is, Sir Max himself. Did someone say Doodles? No. I don't know what you're talking about. No one said Doodles. So let's wait for a little bit to have people get here, and then we will start up the Beanfest. So again, we are in Bliss Bayou. District is right here on the screen, and we are in Toontown Central. For those of you who are wanting to come join. So, I feel like we should go ahead and start answering some questions. So, is that okay with you?
Sure. Yeah, let's go for it. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch.
Yeah. And I'll go ahead, guys, real quick and put the Reddit link in the chat so you guys can answer or ask your questions, and we might be answering them. So, keep your questions coming. And that's basically where you can ask them on the mega thread. So let's see. We're gonna get started, and Renderer has a question. He says, "Why was Dr. Shirley chosen as an important main character for the Toontown Rewritten storyline?"
That's a pretty good one. So the Toontown Rewritten storyline is pretty much, a lot of it comes just from my own like headcanon, I guess. You know, back before Toontown closed, I liked making Toontown videos. I think the most popular one was that fire burning video that I did.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so, you know, that one had a tiny bit of a story, not a whole lot of them, but I had all these plans about how I wanted to tell stories with Toontown and kind of expand the universe. And so one of the stories that I had planned with Dr. Shirley, Lord Loud and Clear, Flippy, of course, and it was going to be a video before Toontown closed, and if I ever got around to it. And really, with Toontown Rewritten, I got to make it even more than a video because I was able to incorporate it into the main game storyline. So, you know, when we first started out, I ran the story by our other developers and people on the team. Everyone really liked it, and that it really inspired the game's name even. So I can't really tell you, I guess, exactly why Dr. Shirley is so important, but I can tell you that the story has been around for a long time, and it's got a lot of depth to it, I guess.
All right. Hopefully you guys are excited to see what comes for the future of the Toontown Rewritten storyline. Like, I am a storyline enthusiast, so I like to keep up to date with everything, like, what was that, mingler.org, I think it was, and stuff like that. Lots of
we love doing like outside of game kind of things like that. Mingler.org and movielabs.net.
Okay. So let's see. Let's see. Okay, I'm just going up the list at this point. If you guys, again, we will be starting a Beanfest probably here in a few minutes. We are in Bliss Bayou in Toontown Central. And Sir Max is here, I'm here, lots of other people are here, so hopefully you guys can join in. Stormy Rewritten says, "Will we be seeing field offices this year as well as the executive office tower?"
I'm not quite sure about that. For field offices, I know I've said this before, I think at the convention and maybe a few other places, but we're actually redesigning the way that field offices are going to work. Just the general gameplay and everything for them. And, you know, back when I said that at the convention, it was more of like, we're going to be redesigning them. And now that process has actually started. We've had several meetings on our team working out how the game design is going to work, what kind of mini games and stuff will be inside of them. And so production on that will start pretty much immediately after the convention. Now, it's hard to say how long that production is going to take. I don't know if it would be released in 2017, but certainly pretty soon after that, I'd say. As for the executive office tower, that one is definitely one of the bigger updates, and I would not expect that for 2017.
Instead of watching this awesome
2018
question and
maybe.
answer session, I'm here watching the Lion Guard with Bunga and friends because I lost a bet. Rip my life. Please help me. Send all the help you can.
Moo, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for cutting off Joey there, but you know, we could still hear you, Joey. You're fine. But Moo decided to donate over you for some reason. Thank you, Moo. I appreciate it. So basically, if you didn't hear Joey, he's not sure yet about field offices, but the executive office tower should probably not be out this year, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, that one, the reason for that is just because the executive office tower is a really huge update. And it's not that it isn't being worked on, but rather just that I think you guys are going to be really excited to see when it does come out, what kind of stuff it entails. But we do have other things planned for 2017 that you'll be seeing instead.
Sounds exciting. So I threw a Bean Unite of my own, so if people want to go ahead and start throwing out Bean Unites, you are welcome to do so. Dan the Duck Live says, when will the Toontown Retextured project be coming out? Will it be before or after beta? And what other projects might be bundled along with it?
That's another good one. Toontown Retextured is... It could possibly come out before beta, I'd say. That's one of our side projects that we kind of work on, like in between projects and stuff like that. So it's kind of hard to say how much work gets done at a single point, just because, you know, it's scattered between the other stuff. But it's certainly made a lot of progress. I know last year we showed off that the Berg playground was pretty much entirely done for Toontown Retextured. Yeah. And so we're talking about how to move forward with that, and you know, if we can speed up that process at all or anything. So hopefully we'll see it pretty soon, but again, that's another really takes a while. And it, you know, one of the big things we've been doing these past few months has been adding new artists and new programmers and new everyone on the team. Lots of new team members who are helping us speed up those processes.
And you guys might have noticed some new staff members pop up along here and there, some names you might have not recognized before. So they are actively working on making sure they have that team to just kind of keep progressing the game. And Doodles is a great example of that, I feel, because that update just kind of shows like, hey, we are working on stuff and we do hope to get rewritten out of beta by the end of the year.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I don't have an account on Reddit. Can I whisper you a question I have? I would highly advise, if you want your questions asked, do it on Reddit, because it's just easier for us to see the questions and to just kind of have them all in an organized space. Now, if you absolutely just cannot make a Reddit account, you can whisper it to me, because if you just put it in Twitch chat, then it'll scroll up and be lost in the abyss of hundreds of Twitch chat messages. So I would highly advise you not to put questions in Twitch chat. So just kind of find ways to get your questions in there. I would really recommend creating an account on Reddit. It's free to do so, and it doesn't take more but a few minutes. Let's see. Okay, Sup3P put 3 bulletin points. So he says, 1, okay, so one of them was on Retextured, so that's fine. So, is there an estimated release date for parties, even if it's vague?
Yeah, so parties, I think I've said this before, believe it or not, we thought that parties would be released before Doodles. You know, Doodles and parties were the 2 big things that we were working on. And they were so close to completion that I think I said in several places that parties would be our next big update. And it turns out I was wrong about that, because Doodles were finished sooner. So now the question is whether or not we're going to, you know, release parties before the convention, or save it as one of the convention updates. and that's something that we haven't really decided yet. But so I can pretty confidently say that parties will be released either before or during the convention this year. So sometime in the next few months.
Get hyped. Crazy Jamal, Joey just explained. That's the frame, the window where parties will be released. So they're coming really, really, really soon. So get excited. Parties will be coming out soon. Okay, so... And then he also says, maybe give us a spoiler for upcoming events, please, smiley face.
I think for that, you gotta wait and see at the convention.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, obviously our April big, especially with Fluffy and all the doodles that came right afterwards. So now, you know, we're gonna wind down for a little bit, but there are still some smaller events that you'll see up until the convention. In fact, I think this weekend that there's predicting that there's going to be a mega invasion and maybe some resistance rangers running around as well.
Ooh. Sounds awesome. Let's see. Stormy Rewritten asked another question and says, oh, it's multiple questions. Okay. Will Cognation be added someday? I think you already answered that one in the past too.
Yeah, Cognation is a very real thing in Toontown Rewritten. It's not currently developed or anything, but it exists in the storyline. It is a place that exists and where the Cogs had their main base of operations and where the chairman is located. So that's something I definitely really want to do in the future. We have lots of great ideas on how Cognation will work and lots of concepts and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, we'll see as time goes on. You know, I certainly can't predict when it will happen, but it's one of the things that we want to get to.
Okay. Could you tell us anything about the playground under the cloud on the map? Lots of questions about the cloud.
Yeah, I know I've answered that lots of places. I think a lot of you know, I've said before, the playground under the cloud is a Toon-made playground. The Toon Troopers are the ones who are right now. Flippy is overseeing, you know, all of that. So yeah, it's going to be a place that'll have new Toon tasks. It'll be an extension of the storyline for our 137 Laugh players, or, you know, our high Toons who, you know, are waiting for new content or just like something new to keep them entertained. This playground is targeted towards them. It'll take place after Donald's Dreamland. I don't think that we've decided whether it's going to be, you know, we might slip it in right after Donald's Dreamland, like before the Cashbot headquarters storyline, stuff like that, or we might add it on after the Bossbot headquarters storyline. But, you know, either way, it'll be a new area with new tasks, new things to do. And that's another thing that, you know, takes a long time to develop, but we're actively working on those concepts and ideas and how it's all going to fit together in Toontown.
Awesome. So hopefully that answers your questions about the cloud. So I don't think we'll be answering any more questions in regards to the cloud because Joey just basically explained everything. If anyone's like taking notes of these questions, be sure to, like, I guess post it on Reddit so everyone can see. If you guys want to make clips of the stream, by the way, so you can kind of see what Joey said on certain questions, that would be a good idea as well. So yeah, let's see. Will there be new types of gags?
I don't think that new types of gags are anything that we want to do. It's something we've talked about before, but right now, you know, in Toontown, pretty much nailed down, like, you know, the whole strategy of the game was built around these gags. And so while a new gag track would be really cool because it's new content and stuff, I feel like it doesn't quite fit in with the strategy, just because of the way the system was built. Like, these gags are pretty perfectly balanced against each other and all that. So it would be hard to add something new in that still keeps that balance. What I would like to do instead is maybe add different ways of attacking. So maybe not a new gag track, but maybe some sort of special gag, you know, like a one-time use kind of thing, or maybe like gag boosters, like things that'll make your throw more accurate, or, you know, things that'll change the strategy without adding, you know, an entire new track to it.
All right. Yeah. Welcome everyone if you're just joining. Oh, welcome everyone if you're just joining the stream. We're having a live Q&A with Joey right now. Thank you so much, Darwin. I appreciate it.
Have him max my tune XD.
There will be more tune tasks.
Off and there are no more tasks. I'm very confused.
There will be more tune tasks whenever that new playground under the cloud opens up to the public. That's what Joey was explaining earlier. But as of right now, you're gonna have to wait. And we are answering more questions, lots of questions, and I highly recommend you guys, if you're just joining us, put your questions in the Reddit. I'm reading from the bottom up. Somebody asked, so it'll be from oldest to newest. And we're just going to keep going up the list until there are no more questions, hopefully, or until Joey is just tired of answering questions, I guess. So be sure to put your questions in there.
And there are some more Jelly Bean Unites too, if you're joining us in game, so that, you know, we can get this Beanfest hype.
Yeah, we're hosting this Beanfest right now.
Invite your friends.
A lot of people are just kind of standing here at the moment, but if anybody has any Jelly Bean Unites they want to give out, please come down to Bliss Bayou in Toontown Central and throw some Unites so that people can buy their doodles that they're so waiting for. So let's see. And the final question from Stormy is, will Toontown Rewritten be in 60 FPS soon?
I think probably yes. It's going to be an option, most likely, that, you know, you can choose whether or not you want to enable it, or if you'd prefer to see the old style. We're kind of talking about, you know, one thing that we care about a lot in Toontown Rewritten is we don't just want to add new stuff for the sake of it being new, but whatever we add, we want it to make sure that it's really tied into what Toontown is supposed to be. So, you know, one of the questions that we asked when we were deciding whether or not we wanted these 60 FPS animations is, you know, why were the animations made in 24 FPS to begin with? You know, 24 FPS is kind of the typical style that movies use and cartoons and all that kind of stuff. So we were like, you know, it could have been a stylistic choice that they did that. Maybe it was just to save some computer usage and all of that. But I think that we've pretty much decided we will be adding that in as an option that you can toggle on or off. We do want to make sure it's super polished. I know that sometimes with these other servers that have enabled 60 FPS, it kind of makes the animations look like a little bit too like rubbery, if that makes sense. You know, certainly looks awesome, but sometimes the animations just aren't quite what they're supposed to look like what the original intention was. So yeah, we just want to make sure that it fits in with the game. We might need to tweak some of the animations to make sure that everything looks as professional as possible, and also just decide whether, like, how we're going to accomplish that toggleable option.
So it's coming soon, one day.
Basically.
All right, so thank you, Stormy, for those questions. Let's see. Looking at the questions. Squirtle says, will you be changing cog bosses, battles, and mechanics, or will you be keeping it old-fashioned?
I think rather than changing the existing bosses, we would just like to add new bosses. I think it's no secret that the Executive Office Tower is a new boss that'll be coming to Toontown. And so, you know, we rather have that kind of new gameplay than change the existing gameplay, just because a lot of people really love the existing gameplay and they rather not see it changed, you know?
Yep.
The only thing the existing bosses... Sorry about that. The only thing we would do to affect existing bosses would be probably having some sort of like challenge mode or a difficulty that might make it a little bit more challenging for the people who do want it to be that. But we would still have that existing mode in there.
All right. Okay. Let's see. And Little Toon Cat wants to know any status of when the team will start looking through the game programmer applications. So this is an application-related question.
We've actually already been doing that. We have 2 programmers who are currently in training, who might be joining us on the full team. So those applications have been gone through, and we've selected our first 2 candidates that have been chosen. And that's not selected based off of like who's the most worthy to be in. Like, don't feel like if you did send in a programmer application, don't feel like you've been rejected yet or anything. This was mainly just based off of the applications that we got, like which ones looked the best to us and also came in first. So, we have these 2 applicants that we're training right now, and then once they're done, then we'll bring in some more.
There you go. And I will mention that, again, there are a lot of new staff that you might have seen pop up. Joey, how is the like process of bringing people from training onto the full team been so far in terms of like making the new team?
It's been great. I don't think that we've actually, all of the people that we've brought in for training or for trial, as we call it, none of them I don't think have been, rejected moving on to the full team. That trial process is there so we can not only train them, but also make sure that they're really a good fit for our team. And I don't think that anyone has ever been rejected in that process yet, from the new applications that we've had. So, yeah, it's going great. We've got 2 new composers that actually just made it onto the full team yesterday. One of them was the one who wrote the track for The Source of the Silliness.
Oh yeah, the one I was playing at the beginning of the stream. Did you guys enjoy that track? Let me know as Joey answers this question. Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, the track was awesome, and our other new composer is awesome too. He's got some stuff that will probably be popping up pretty soon. And of course, we still have York on the team who does some of the other music, like the Storm Cellbot tracks that we've had. Yeah, so lots of new people coming in. We're excited about it. And there's more people currently being tested who will be making it onto the team soon. And already with these new people, we're just seeing a huge boost of productivity.
Awesome. Sorry if the stream's buffering, guys. That's just kind of how Twitch works, and it happens all the time. The buffer was insane. Yeah, be sure to refresh and you should be good. Anyway, yeah, the stream just had a heart attack. The stream was just as excited about that news as I am. So it had to go down for a sec. But we're good. I think it's fully recovered. If it's buffering a lot, just let me know. We should be okay. I'm still streaming right now, so if you can hear my voice, just let me know. Yeah, I'm too cool for Twitch, right? Okay. Joey, do you want to go ahead and do a boss run?
Sure.
Okay, so guys, we're going to go ahead and do a VP run. So if you have your VP promotion, we'll be doing a VP right here in Bliss Bayou. So go on down to Cellbot headquarters, and we'll wait for a few people to come join us.
And even if you don't get in the elevator with Smirky or myself, still go do a boss battle real quick. It'd be awesome just to get like a whole bunch of boss battles going at once.
Just to make sure, if you guys can hear my stream, I don't know, put Joey in the chat. Just say Joey's name, just so I know that you guys can hear me fine. Let's see. Okay, a lot of you guys can still hear me. That's good. Okay. Okay, so... Oh yeah, I'll invite you. There we go. Okay. So, Joey in the chat. Joey's... I don't think he's in the chat right now, but he was earlier. He said hello, so he's here. And I'm talking to him, so that's even better. Trending Hobbit says... let's see. Okay, With the game being rather limited, unlike normal MMOs, will you do something to make Toontown feel more like an open world?
That's a good question, and personally, we don't have plans to do that just because that would really, you know, that would really involve redesigning the entire game in a sense. I'm sure that there's things we can do to make it, feel more immersive and more like modern day MMOs. But I think that Toontown as we know it, the way that playgrounds are structured and all that kind of stuff will stay pretty much the same. And even though it's not an open world MMO, I think that it still has its own kind of charm to it.
I agree. I mean, open world sounds cool, but I do like Toontown just the way it is, personally.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for that question. Caden wants to know, what is the application process like for smaller jobs, such as marketing and not moderation?
It pretty much works the same way as moderation or programming. All of them work the same kind of way. There are different people who review the different applications. One who reviews the video editor applications and the marketing assistant applications, while we might have other people who review the moderation ones and the programming ones and all that kind of stuff. But it's the same kind of process. You submit an application from the website, email it in, and it takes a few weeks. Sometimes it might even be a month or more before your application gets reviewed, just because of how busy we keep ourselves and how many people we have to train and how many applications to review. But yeah, I mean, as long as you're patient and persistent, then you might find yourself on the Toontown Rewritten team.
There you go. So what do you say we go ahead and do this VP?
Sure, let's go for it.
Okay, and we're in. Okay, next question. Somebody wants to know what your favorite movie series is.
Movie series. I don't really know if I have a favorite movie series. My favorite movies in general are Interstellar and Inception. I love Christopher Nolan movies. Those two just like blow my mind. Yeah, if that answers your question. Also, of course, any Disney movie. Pixar is great.
Pixar is great, I agree. Yeah, guys, so we're going to be in this VP run. Be sure that you don't just not do a VP. We encourage you guys to go do VP runs yourself while we're in this one. So, yeah. Joey, what SOS do you think we're going to get?
I'm not sure.
I say Clerk Clara. What about you?
Clerk Clara?
Yeah.
Maybe. I could see that. Let's see. The camera's zooming out right now. Looks like we've got an all Hollywood VP here.
Oh boy.
And Dan's recording.
He is. Better. Oh, we got Clerk
Who
Will.
is that? Clerk Will. Okay.
Restock trap.
Hey, I mean, someone's got to save him.
That's true. I think we'll be those people to save him. So I know a guy 98 says, "Hello Joey, you might remember me as Nox when we played TTO. What's it like going from player to developer in a short period of time?"
That's a good question, and I do remember Nox from TTO. He was one of my best friends on the game.
Wow.
So it's awesome to see that he's still around. Going from player to developer it's really mind-blowing. Thinking about the days that I was with Nox just playing the game normally, in a VP run without an icon over my head. I would always have all sorts of ideas about Toontown and ways to improve it and everything. And now here I am. I'm actually able to put those ideas to fruition, which is really, really awesome. It kind of feels like it's stressful because it's like, am I really the right person to be in this place doing this? Yeah, but it's it's really a mind-blowing experience. Like thinking about how just a few years ago I was, you know, a normal player like Smirky or any of the people in the chat, and now here we are, you know, doing an interview with one of the leaders of the game, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to see. Like I remember you as a friend back then, and you hosted so many things like the secret agent forums, and you were just looking for ways to keep the community interactive, and then you suddenly took it upon yourself and who else? I think it was Fat McStink to recreate the game when it shut down, and here you are today doing amazing things. So
yeah, it's been a really crazy journey, especially thinking about how it's been almost 4 years since Toontown Rewritten started. That just is crazy to me. It blows my mind. You know, we're almost halfway to the point that Toontown Online was when, you know, Toontown Online went on for 10 years, and here we are almost 4 years, going to be going on 5.
Yeah, that's really crazy. I'm excited. A lot of people, I've just noticed this question. A lot of people want to know what you're studying right now.
I'm actually studying game design. I was going an in-person college, like on campus, staying in a dorm and stuff last semester. Now I've transferred and I'm going to an online college.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I'm actually studying game design. So, you know, awesome stuff could be coming from that.
So you could put your Joey code to good use.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the dream.
Awesome. Thank you, Noah Guy. Let's see. Trending Hobbit, have you thought about recreating the task line to have an actual storyline incorporated into them?
Could be cool. Like, it would be difficult from a programming perspective, just because the task line right now, how it works is very linear. You know, it's hard to go back and insert a new task into the game because, you know, people have already gotten past Toontown Central and gotten past Dawn Streamland and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, you know, how do we incorporate that? But it would be a really cool idea, and I definitely know with this new playground that we're going to be releasing under the cloud, it's going to have a whole bunch of new types of toon tasks. You know, we don't want to just do the stereotypical like defeat 200 cog buildings and all that kind of stuff. We want to implement some like new crazy stuff that hasn't been done before, and you know, an actual storyline could be a part of that.
There you go. Oh yeah, Twite, thanks for making that command. So there's !Reddit. You can type that and get the link to the Reddit. We have, let me refresh the page. We have a lot of comments. We have 65 comments right now on the sticky post. And that's a lot of questions. I know, sorry Joey, that's a lot of questions for you to answer.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say, make sure you're upvoting that thread too. Give Smirky some karma.
Yeah guys, I only have 4 upvotes. Feels bad. Okay, let's see. Alright, so Marcusus wants to know, any updates on the Toontown Re-Rigged project? Could we expect some new toon animations in Toontown Rewritten soon? So if you guys don't remember Toontown Re-Rigged, at the convention they showed off some cool little teaser animation things at the convention to give people an idea of what Toontown Re-Rigged was all about. And I'll admit, I haven't heard much about that ever since the convention.
Well, the first thing that we did with Toontown Re-Rigged was Riggy Marole. If you guys remember, Riggy Marole had brand new animation in Toontown, and he was like a new NPC and stuff. He's currently the only use that we've done with Toontown Re-Rigged that's in game right now. And I know that we've actually worked on some other animations. Some of the stuff was actually meant to go in ToonFest and didn't make it. Since then, just because we've been busy with this team reform and all of that, there haven't really been other uses for the animations yet. But say in some of the upcoming content, you can expect to see maybe a couple new animation for our NPCs and all that. But Re-Rigged, it's not really like a big update kind of thing like Toontown Retextured is. It's more of an ongoing project. It took a lot of time to get to the point where we could animate existing tunes, because we don't have the original models that Disney had. We only have the compressed ones. So we had to recreate an entire rig to be able to animate that, and now we're able to.
Yep, and I just kind of showed a photo of Riggy Morrell on stream to kind of give you guys an idea of what he's talking about. How Riggy had the spinning bow tie and how he had the little fluff on his forehead, I guess. That's kind of an example of what they were going after.
Yeah, Riggy was both a test of the new animation and also the new species, because Riggy, even though he's a rabbit, like visually, in the programming, he's like technically a new species. So
there you go. Kaden again wants to know, when will Toontown Translated be out?
That's one that another project that's actually sadly on hold right now. Just because we had, back in November, we ended up with a lot of projects on our plate, and you guys know that there were some issues with ToonFest, and we really took a second to look back and say, like, okay, we need to some of the stuff that's bogging us down and put our focus into some main projects before going back to all these side projects. So Toontown Toontown Translated, or whatever we called it, is one of those things that's currently on hold just until we finish up this team reform kind of thing. But luckily, that is finishing up pretty soon. We've gotten a whole lot accomplished in terms of, adding a whole bunch of people to the team. We've gotten doodles released, which is like the biggest hurdle that our team has faced over the past years.
Yeah.
And so probably after the convention, that's when we're going to sit down and talk about, okay, we've gotten all this stuff accomplished, and now, like, what are we going to accomplish in the next year? And that's when we'll reevaluate when that kind of stuff's going to come out.
There you go. I just noticed a question in Twitch chat that I thought was interesting. I still recommend you guys post on the Reddit, but this question I thought was really interesting from Prince Duck. And he says, I want to ask Joey if anything new is going to be at ToonFest 2017 that wasn't in ToonFest 2016.
Are you talking about the convention?
Yes.
Or the in-game ToonFest?
The convention, I think, right? Prince Duck, can you clarify that for me? Let's just assume you're talking about the convention.
So the convention absolutely is going to have tons of new stuff that wasn't at the 2016 convention. There will, of course, be a lot of stuff that's relatable. We're still going to have developer Q&As. We're still costs. All of the stuff that people really loved from the years past. You'll be able to come to our booth and talk to us. We'll have gameplay stations, tournaments. But then the content that we're going to be talking about is just going to be some pretty awesome stuff that we're really excited about. Already, I think we've even dropped a few teasers that I'm not sure if people have picked up on or not. And, in the months to come, we'll especially be dropping more teasers. So just get ready for some of the cool things that are, not only activities that will be there, but also just some of the stuff that we're going to talk about and release and everything.
Renderer says, I get to retain my title. That's right. He was at the tournament, and he's going to go back to Replay FX and defend his title. If anybody else in the chat is going to go to Replay FX, let me know. A lot of people have been asking if I'm going, and I just don't know yet. I really want to, so I'll keep you guys filled in on that. I would love to go back. Let's see. Okay, Trending Hobbit again is asking, did you have any ideas of balancing or changing the current battle system since it heavily favors tunes right now?
Maybe. That's we definitely, in the future, I definitely want there to be higher level cogs, like more than level 12. Because, the game needs to be harder. Right now, when you get to the high laugh, it does. Um, we've just like blasted through this VP basically because we're all very high laugh tunes.
Yeah.
So, and the VP isn't supposed to be a hard boss anyway, but still. So yeah, I would love to see some changes to the battle system or even new enemies and, lots of balances that would, make the game still easy enough for kids, but also provide some challenges to our long-term players.
There you go. Okay, it's gonna be interesting answering or looking at the thread while trying to do a VP, but we'll see if we can do it. Let's see. If I skip your question, by the way, know that it's not because I don't like you, it's because Joey's already answered that question, and I don't want him repeating the same thing over and over 5,000 times. So just be sure to look back on the stream. I think I'm going to try and upload this to YouTube after it's done, so you guys can take a look at all the questions then. So just kind of keep an eye out for that. Trending Hobbit again, but I think this is like... Trending Hobbit, you're on fire with these questions. He says, have you thought about making certain aspects of the game less grindy, like golfing, racing, fishing, and doodle training?
Yes, absolutely. I think doodle training especially is one that we have definite plans to redo. Just because I think that's the one that has the most potential for fun to redo it. Yeah, like right now it's not the greatest, where you have to keep clicking the same button over and over again to train doodles. So we would just like to see like some mini games or, just new ways to level up your doodles without sitting there for hours at a time and, clicking over and over, which probably isn't healthy. As for golfing and racing, there aren't any definite plans to redo them, but I agree that it's definitely one of the things in the game that's like a little bit too grindy, and I would love to see improved.
So yeah, hopefully we can see some of that stuff get improved. Bomberman, thank you. I appreciate that that kind gesture there. Oh yeah, we did it. That was quick. Bomberman, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Your support is awesome. Can we get some smirk hype? I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Oh, I got the glitch where it's still doing the sound effect, so where it's stunned, so that's fun. Thank you so much, Bomberman. Okay, let's see. Enraging says, when are doodles come? Oh, they're already out. How much work has been done on the new doodle training system, or is it just a concept at the moment?
At the moment, it's just a concept and idea. It is going to be one of our, it's going to be coming sooner than later, I'd say, because the system is, at least improving the system is one of our top priorities right now, because people love doodles, and, it would be better to improve that system before everyone starts getting their doodles like massively trained. But I think it's going to be one of those ongoing things where like you'll see it in small tweaks over time as opposed to one big update. And so, those small tweaks could be coming as soon as like this month, or they could be as far away as, the convention or further along. Yeah, but you'll definitely see some stuff for doodles pretty soon because we know how excited people are for the release, and we want to make sure that we keep that excitement going.
There you go. We saved Clerk Will, right? No, Clerk Ray. Sorry, we saved Clerk Ray. Yay.
Oh yeah.
So, do you want to do another boss run, or what do you want to do?
I'm up for anything. I've got my level 50 cog suit, so I can do another boss run if you wanted to.
Okay. So just so you guys know, I personally on Smirky can't do a CJ or a CEO because I don't have any promotions on those. But if you guys want to do another VP or CFO, just kind of say so in the chat, and I would be more than happy to do another one with Joey for you guys. Let's see. Joey, what are your favorite and least favorite gags from Puckle Pie?
Favorite and least favorite gags. I'll assume it's just talking about how funny they are or something instead of like how they're actually like strategically. So I think my favorite gag is the Tunic, just because that and the train I think are the funniest gags, because you just don't expect it to be like that huge, crushing the cogs. Least favorite gag, I want to say Feather. It's kind of a boring one. Yeah.
All right, awesome. It looks like a lot of you guys want me to do a CFO, and I totally get that some of you can't do a CFO, but a lot of you guys do want me to switch it up, so let's go ahead and go do a CFO. Aw. Okay, I'm gonna go to Cashbot headquarters. Can we do buildings also? We might do buildings later if you guys really want us to. I mean, we're kind of down for anything right now as we're answering all these questions. Let's see. Okay, I'm reading this question real quick. So Lizzie Maslow is wanting to know, when will Macintosh users be able to fully experience the game without crashes and everything?
Very, very soon. I know that bug I know it's been improved, not completely fixed, but I think that the crashes have been reduced in one of the last updates. And Sam, who is one of our technical operations people, and he, him and Cosmos were kind of the main two people who were in charge of the Doodles update. But anyway, he has his heart set on fixing the Mac audio in either the next update or one of the ones after that. So very, very soon is when you can expect to see Mac audio fixed. Because we know that you guys have been waiting for a long time for that, and it's not completely fair that you haven't been able to experience the whole game. But yeah, fix is in the works and coming out very, very soon.
All right, I'm gonna invite you to a boarding group. There we go. Okay, and guys, remember we are in Bliss Bayou, so if you're wondering what district we're in, that's where we are. Let's see. Caden says mingler.org isn't up anymore. Is that website never to be used again?
I'll have to double check on that, but right now we don't have any current plans for mingler.org. It was mainly just that one. It was like the COG email system or something that we did for an ARG. It might be used in the future. I believe that we do still own the domain. It just hasn't been updated in a little while.
Hey Jay Stalker, I am in Bliss Bayou. It's kind of hard to see with the layout, but we are in Bliss Bayou inside the CFO lobby. So I don't know why you're saying that you're in Bliss Bayou and you can't see us, because we are in there. So make sure you're in the right district. Yeah, be sure you guys check out the Reddit. That's where you should post all your questions. Let's see. Twiteheart says, Flippy said something interesting the other day. Looks like Twiteheart might have run into Flippy. Twiteheart says, about doodle clothes, will that be added in? Plus, will Toons get new accessories? I love Slate's clothing designs. They are awesome.
Okay, so doodle accessories, ever since the doodle update came out, has been a very widely requested feature, it looks like. And I don't it would take a little bit to implement that in our game, but it would be a super hard task to do, especially if we use the existing accessories. So I think that doodle accessories are something that we could potentially see. We'll have to talk about it as a team and see whether it's something we really want to do. But I know that people would love to like customize their doodles a little bit more. As for new toon accessories, there are definitely some new ones on the way that our artists have been working on. You mentioned that Slate, she always creates some awesome clothing for the game. And we've got some other artists working on clothing and accessories. So, shout out to them, and you'll be seeing those accessories coming pretty soon.
Yeah, just like the, Slate is the one who made the OMGCon accessories. So if you see people walk around with those, Slate made those, and they plan on coming out with all kinds of new accessories, so get excited for that. And we're now in the CFO, so hopefully this will go quick and we can get a great night out of it. Crazy Charlie TTR says, what's been your absolute favorite project in the game to work on or oversee? Love you, Joey.
That's a really good question. I think that, man, it's hard to say. I think the convention is one of my favorite things to do. It's, I'm one of the main people, or I guess I am the main person in charge of organizing that and like all of the content that gets shown there and all the videos and stuff. I love organizing the convention and going to it every year and just getting to meet all of the players. It's just an incredible experience and like one of the most exciting times of my year. As for actual game projects, I think the coolest thing that we ever did was probably the Doomsday thing.
Yeah, Doomsday.
Yeah, Doomsday was, I think, probably the coolest update that we ever put together to end that whole alpha period. Sadly, it's harder to put those updates together nowadays just because the game is so much bigger. It's one thing to design an update but designing it for, thousands of people makes it really difficult. Like, we wouldn't be able to use Doomsday right now just because it wasn't written for this scale. But yeah, I loved the Doomsday storyline and update and everything. I loved making this doodle video that we just released and love working on the convention.
There you go. So good question, Charlie. Thank you. Puggle Pie says, what track do you think is best to go without? So what's your preference? Like, which one would you not choose?
Man, let me think. I think best to go without, in my opinion, is Trap, because I feel like Lure is very valuable. And of course Tune Up and Drop are pretty valuable as well. Soundless is definitely something I support. I think that it's a pretty cool challenge to be doing that. And sometimes on some of my tunes, I'll even go tune-upless just to do something different. So, especially now that doodles are in the game, I think that tune-upless is now a much more viable thing.
Do you have a soundless tune?
Yes, I do.
Ooh. Awesome. Okay, cool. Soundless support. Indeed, Space, indeed. Oh, Mikkel, that's a very good question. Where do you think Toontown will be, or TTR will be in 5 or 10 years from now?
5 to 10 years. Sorry, you'll have to excuse my gag choices. Trying to focus on the battle and the questions too. But 5 to 10 years. Let me think. I definitely think that Toontown is not going anywhere anytime soon. As in, we're not closing Toontown Rewritten. Even if we did, I think that people would bring back another Toontown. And I think that it's only getting better from here, honestly. Especially seeing things behind the scenes and like knowing a little bit more than you guys do, I guess, in terms of like what our direction is and all of that. I'm really excited to see where Toontown ends up. And I've said many times this year that I think 2017 is going to be the best year for Toontown so far. So in 5 years, I would love to see a new Toontown in development, like officially supported by Disney or Shell Games or whoever. I think it's a viable goal to have that being developed in 5 years. And so in 10 years, I hope that game is the biggest family MMO on the market. And, you know, still being actively developed and, you know, everyone just enjoying a brand new Toontown that is continuing the legacy that Toontown Online started and Toontown Rewritten has continued.
There you go. I saw a question in Twitch chat. The real Hunter Boppin wants to know, will we ever see Doodlevania?
I think it would be cool to see Doodlevania. I know that one thing a lot of us want to do is make a doodle park in Acorn Acres, because it just seems like it's, you know, Acorn Acres is just such a cool place for doodles, I think, especially because there's not a whole lot there right now. I think it would fit in very well. And that's where we've had our Toonfest area. And in the storyline, Doodlevania is very close to Acorn Acres on Toonfest. That's where Flippy found Fluffy. So I don't know if we'll ever see the specific place that is Doodlevania, but I think that we'll definitely see some sort of area that incorporates doodles a lot more.
Yeah, it looks like the chat agrees that they think that would be pretty cool too, so who knows? Let's see. Distal wants to know, why are the districts not named after specific objectives, such as naming a district Cellbot HQ or Lawbot HQ? This would make finding a group 1,000,000 times faster.
I think just because that's not how Toontown Online, and also because it's good to have people spread out among districts. The point of district is just to be a copy of Toontown. Like each district is just supposed to be its own copy of the game, so that one server doesn't get too overloaded. So especially like say if we had like a Crash Cashbot headquarters event or something like that, then everyone would go to the Cashbot headquarters and no one would be anywhere else. So yeah, I don't think it would be a good idea because of the server capacity to create districts based off of certain areas.
All right. Will there ever be another Roger Dog Day?
I don't think so. That was kind of an alpha fun event, but it would be cool. I mean, Roger Dog's on our team, so I think every day is Roger Dog Day now.
It's true. Roger Dog still works on the team to this day, so there you go. What was your favorite Toontown Online feature from Super Mouse Gaming?
This might be an unpopular one, and I think it's mainly just because it's new and like I really liked the design, but I liked field offices a lot.
Yeah.
Again, like I know the gameplay was not the best. I didn't like the reward for it or anything, but I loved the idea of it. And that's why field offices are going to get so much love when we bring them back for Toontown Rewritten. Other than field offices, I think boss battles are my favorite. Again, just because there's like new gameplay, like things that you can't experience anywhere else in Toontown. So yeah.
There you go. So thank you, Distill. Electro Snoop wants to know, are we gonna see a new type of cog? Also, is Cog Nation gonna be a big map like the Toontown map?
Did you cut out there?
Oh, I might have for you. So, Electro Snoop says, are we gonna see a new type of cog? Also, is Cog Nation gonna be a big map like the Toontown map?
Oh, okay. I think this question is hard for me to answer just because we don't know right now. Like those things aren't our current projects, but those are still projects that we plan to do. We'll certainly see a new cog boss. I don't know if we would ever see a new cog type, as in like I don't think there'd be anything more than like Sellbot, Cashbot, Lawbot, BossBot. But I think that, you know, there definitely will be cogs that go past level 12. So yeah, we probably will see some new cogs in the future. And as for the Cognation map, that would certainly be the dream. I think my vision of Cognation is that it takes place on the complete opposite side of Toontown. So we would have an entirely new map for it.
Interesting. All right. Hopefully that answers your question, Electro Snoop. Okay. I'm gonna bring this question up and see what you say, Joey. Bill TTR wants to know: any chance Jesse Shell will be at this year's convention? Sure seems suspicious that the convention center is right by Shell Games.
I'm gonna pass on that one.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, you'll have to wait and see.
Unburden Ash, are there any plans on changing how doodle training works? I don't know if I brought that up. Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely changing doodle training. So it won't be that same like spammy, clicky kind of thing. Still kind of working out the ideas of what's going to happen for that, but it's something that we want to get done pretty soon.
All right. Okay, this is a good question that I think I should bring up. Daybreak Gryffindor says, do you guys have any intentions of monetizing the game without money going through for your hard work? Seems difficult to work on TTR. If so, what methods are you thinking about? Subscription, microtransactions, thanks.
Toontown Rewritten will never be paid for, or I guess never receive money from people. Because, I mean, for a couple reasons. The main reason, of course, is that we don't own this game. Disney is the only owner of Toontown, and without permission from them, you know, we aren't going to be doing anything in terms of like adding a way to earn subscriptions or money. Now, if Toontown were to come back officially from Disney or officially from Shell Games or whatever, we would, of course, want to monetize it. They would want to monetize it because that's how the game gets developed and how the servers are paid for and all. But as for Toontown Rewritten, we pay for it out of pocket. And so, you know, it's a hobby for us, and you have to pour money into hobbies, and that's just what we do.
There you go. So that was a good question, Daybreak. Thank you. Let's see. How do I say this? Bartholomew 1423, I tried, says, can we walk our doodle around the playground and have cars in our estates?
I think it'd be really fun to walk your doodle around the playground. I think, like I think I mentioned earlier, it would be great to have a doodle park in Acorn Acres. And it would be awesome just to like bring them outside of the estate and get to interact with other people and all that kind of stuff. As for carts in the estates, I think that's stretching it a little bit, but maybe it could be cool to park your car at your estate, as, you know, a way of showing it off or something.
So there you go. I don't know if I asked a question similar to this. Stardark Sky says, will there be any changes to the COG headquarters?
Other than the executive office tower, which will add that new COG boss that like can't really tell you guys much about yet, there's not going to be any changes to the existing COG headquarters, just because we want to keep the bosses and everything similar to how they are right now.
There you go. Thank you, Stardark. Renderer says, going forward, how will the TTR team manage the in-game Toonfest in the coming years, including this year?
It's a very good question. Certainly after last year, we have some things to reevaluate about Toonfest. It will be coming back because we love opening up that area, but we are going to kind of slack, like what's the word for it? We're going to tone down the updates for it a little bit. So it'll still be around in game, but it won't be quite as actively updated as it has been in years past, just because, you know, we'll release the content that we've got left to release for it and some of the mini games. And then after that, it'll probably just kind of stay the same every year and be that annual area that opens up to earn tokens and prizes and everything. Yeah, if that makes sense. We haven't really gotten around to the time of the year where we start working like super actively on ToonFest. So there's still some unknowns about it for when September comes around. We're more focused on the convention right now.
There you go. Where's those crane skills? I mean, nobody wants to give me a crane, so you'll have to check out my crane skills another time, I guess. Okay, sorry, Ixie. Okay, Crazy Charlie TTR says, are you planning on expanding your marketing, like advertisements around the internet, expanded sites, more physical newsletters with trading cards and such, or are you restricted due to copyright?
We don't have, as far as I'm aware, you know, there's no problem advertising Toontown Rewritten on other websites. We've done it before. We have had Facebook advertisements. I don't think we've ever done a YouTube advertisement yet. One of the things I'm waiting for that is our new website. You know, I definitely want to get the new website up before we start doing a whole lot of like marketing towards new players and stuff like that. Because right now the website is very much designed only for existing players. Like if you hadn't played Toontown before, chances are you wouldn't really understand much. Yeah, so there will definitely be some new marketing things in the future. You know, every year we do have, I know you mentioned the mailers. Every year we will, yeah, the member mailers. Every year we have member mailers where you can send us a letter and we'll send you back some trading cards and like a little sheet of like a newsletter, not a newsletter, but some sort of like message from Toontown to go with it. Like last year we did a postcard. The year before that was kind of like a scroll. Yeah, so we're always looking for new ways to like interact with the community and also bring some more players on.
I noticed a lot of people in the chat kind of perked up when they overheard the two words "new website."
Yeah, that's the new website will be coming in 2017. That's something I see. I know that has been something that we've been talking about for a long time, and I can't tell you how many, you know, we've made concepts, we've made websites, and then we're like, like we don't really like that. It's not right yet. So, you know, we've been hard at work on trying to get the best Toontown website there can be, I guess. And that will be something that's coming out in 2017 at some point.
Nice. And we just defeated the CFO. I got the last hit. Let's see what unite we got real quick. We got 600 jelly beans.
Nice.
That's perfect. Awesome. Okay. Thank you, Charlie. Sub 3P wants to know if we can get volume sliders for both music and sound effects.
Yeah, I know at some point we were redesigning the settings page, and that's still something that's going to be done. In addition to the sliders, we would probably also have like the ability to change your controls to like WASD controls and all that kind of stuff. So, yes, something that'll be done at some point. It's on our to-do list.
Awesome. Let's see. MF says, has an end of beta event been discussed or decided? How would the event compare to Doomsday?
So this is actually, I did another interview on Wednesday that was like a recorded, and I think that they haven't uploaded that yet. But I answered this question. You'll be able to compare my answers, I guess. Okay. But there originally was an end of beta event planned. Like the same time that we planned Doomsday, we were going to have like the concept came up of how the end of beta event would work. But over the years, things have changed, and that plan is still happening, but it has gotten to such a large scale that we're actually turning it into something completely different. I'll tell you, the executive office tower was actually supposed to be what our end of beta event was, but now since that has gotten to become such a big project, then we'll be seeing it not at the end of beta, but at a different time in the future. There'll still be a celebration at the end of beta, but it won't be quite the same as Doomsday. That'll come later on.
All right. Lots of interesting stuff about the end of beta. And that kind of brings up the point for those of you who have kind of forgotten that Toontown Rewritten is still in open beta, as features like Doodles and Parties wouldn't have been out yet. The Doodles are out now, and I just thought that was really interesting to kind of bring up. So, really, really
yeah,
interesting.
we're shooting to end beta this year. Yeah, it's going to be really exciting, and we're definitely on track for that. Doodles were the first major hurdle, and honestly, the most major hurdle of getting out of beta. And now we essentially just have Parties and fixing up racing left. And from there, you know, we'll have a real big update that moves us into Toontown version 2.0.0.
Awesome. Sounds good. Saw this question in the chat from Tanu. Any discussion on moving away from Panda 3D, maybe to a more modern engine?
No, because Panda 3D certainly isn't the most perfect game engine, and it's certainly a little bit outdated, but it is still worked on, and I think that Panda gets a little bit more hate than it deserves, because yes, there are limitations, but the limitations aren't quite as big as you'd think. Like Panda 3D can't necessarily compare to like Unreal Engine or anything, but it does have dynamic shadows and like a lot of the other features that people request. Yeah, so I think that the engine doesn't necessarily need to be changed. We just need to, work on converting Toontown to the most modern version of Panda 3D, which it is running on. We just aren't making use of its full features.
There you go. Do you want to hop on the trolley real quick? Trolley?
Sure.
All right. I'll follow you. Moo, thank you. I appreciate that. You're crazy.
I'm still watching the dang show.
Poor Moo.
Please kilometers me.
And thank you to all of you who have been following, by the way. I really appreciate that. I respect Joey and his answers, so I don't want to interrupt those answers. Lightning Tune, thank you, dude. I want to make sure I can respect all of his answers, so I don't want to...
Please kilometers me.
Oh, we crashed. That was weird.
Yeah, it seems the game crashed.
Please kilometers me.
Interesting. Thank you, Moo. I appreciate it. Seems the game crashed, so we'll just hop back on. Catching Game doesn't like us apparently, so we'll see if we can get a different game this time. But yeah, guys, thank you to those of you who have been doing so, following. That's awesome. I appreciate it. Yeah, here lies Smirky. Rest in peace. He tried playing the Catching Game and went sad. It's kind of sad. So thank you, MF Was, for the question. I appreciate that. Let's hop back online real quick. Moo, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. Stormy Gumball says, with the release of Doodles, will there be new animations or tricks?
Sorry, I'm still working on getting into the game.
That's okay.
So you said, what was the question again?
It says, with the release of Doodles, will there be new animations or tricks?
Smirky, can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, you cut out for me for a second. I think
Sorry.
my internet's having some issues.
That's fine, but I can hear you.
Can you repeat the question again?
It says, will there be new animations or tricks for Doodles?
Oh, okay. So that would definitely be cool. There's not any like concepts for it right now, But you know, doodles are, I think, are easy enough to animate that we could see that in the future.
Awesome. All right, Arctic Mare. Hey, Sir Max and Smirky, you guys may have known me as Midnight Hit and a little bit on TTR. Anyway, Sir Max, is there a chance there'll be a new species rewrite?
So that one is tough to answer just because I don't think we've decided yet. But I don't think that we're necessarily going to have rewrites for entire species. I think that we would rather you make a new tune for the new tune species.
There you go. Okay, thank you, Arctic Mare. Let's see. So yeah, GTX660 Keen says, so what is the status of the new TTR website? Like, how is it coming along?
It's coming along. It's like I said, we have lots of concepts and designs and stuff that we've been through. So we're really trying to nail down, like, you know, what does the website need to accomplish and how can we make it accomplish that? You know, we need to think about parents. We need to think about returning players or just like people who haven't played in a long time. So we're kind of drafting out what the flow of the website needs to be like, what layout it needs to have. We've gotten some of the graphics created for it. The programming, honestly, I think is the easiest part compared to like layout and back-end work and everything. But yeah, so it's in progress and we'll keep you updated on it as time goes on.
Sounds good. Oh, I just refreshed the thread on Reddit, and it went up from 4 karma to 16, and the comments went up from 65 to 97. That's a lot of questions. Thank you guys so much for all these questions.
And make sure to keep upvoting that thread.
Please do, and keep asking questions if you want Joey to keep answering questions. If you have more questions, please do. Please ask. Try not to ask any questions that might have already been answered. Oh, what's up, Ziggy? I see you in the chat. Let's see. Smurf Murph says, how long will it take retextured to be done?
That's another hard one to say. Like I said earlier with the retexture question, it's kind of one that we do in between projects, like when there's nothing else for an artist to work on, you know, if they're waiting for models to be designed and stuff like that. So it really all depends. And, you know, the game is huge, so there's a whole lot of textures to be redone. We're kind of about what our game plan for that is and what we want to shoot for like a release date. So we'll see, and we'll probably have some more backstage posts about that as time goes on.
Sweet. Do you want to do another VP?
Sure, I can.
Okay.
Did you want to try the trolley real quick?
Yeah, let's do that first. See if we can get a game to work this time. Okay. Oh, did you? Okay. Oh, I missed it.
I'll just ride with these people. Maybe you can ride with a separate group.
That's fine.
Ooh, we got the tag game.
Ooh, that's one of my least favorite games. Lightning TTR has a few questions. One of them is, are more moderator jobs available?
Yeah, there are. We're always looking for more moderators. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the most simple way to answer that one. We're always looking to expand the team for that.
All right. Will there be more bosses added, maybe in the cloud?
More bosses are definitely going to be added through the executive office tower. That's our big one that we're working on. The cloud is a tuning area, so that's actually not going to be a COG headquarters or anything, but that's, you know, built to be a playground for tunes.
There you go. And finally, what doodle traits do you think are the best, and are there any tips you can give on training the doodles?
I want to say, now I'm not the one who programmed doodles, so don't hold me to it, but I think you want to look for a doodle that's always affectionate or always excited, or, you know, mostly excited or whatever. Rarely tired is a good trait. The Donald's Dreamland doodles, they are the best doodles, but be careful because they aren't always, you know, entirely perfect. You want to make sure you look at the traits and try and get the best match of, you know, which ones are the best. Because sometimes the Donald's Dreamland doodles will be, you know, sometimes tired and stuff like that. As for training, it's hard to give tips for that. I'd say the best way to train is to get a whole bunch of friends together and just, you know, take turns training each other's doodles. Because that way you'll help them out, they'll help you out, and you get a lot of teamwork in the process rather than having to do it all on your own.
Indeed, and that reminds me, do you want to go ahead and do the party?
Sure, let's go for it.
Okay, so I'm in a trolley game right now. So guys, here's what we're gonna do. We kind of talked about this before the stream started, and we thought this would be a cool idea. So here's what's gonna happen. So what's gonna happen after this trolley game is that I'm gonna make a brand new tune, and its friends list is gonna be completely empty, and we're gonna fill up that friends list and go to my estate, and everyone trains their doodles all together. So we thought this would be a cool idea, and we hope that you think it's a cool idea too. So let's go ahead and just let's just do it. Let's just, yeah, we're gonna hope that my estate doesn't, you know, go crazy, and we're gonna try it. We're gonna see how this works. So let's see.
Yeah, there might be some lag because we're hoping that there'll be, you know, a good few dozen doodles that'll show up there. So if you've got a doodle, or if you don't have a doodle already, you know, go out and buy one and get ready to friend Smirky's new tune. If you need some jelly beans, I'm in Donald's Dreamland right now in Bliss Bayou.
So
yeah, and I'll throw out some jelly bean unites.
All right. So here's the tune name. It's gonna be just what it is. Colonel. I don't know how to say words. Actually, let's just change his name here to. Okay, let's do Crazy Giggle Bumble. So it's a weird, wacky name, but that's kind of how Toontown works. So he's gonna be this yellow bear right here. So there we go. So, Colonel. Okay, I'm sorry. Don't judge. Let's see. Hypnos73 asked about changing controls, like if you could use WASD, and Joey said that he hopes to implement WASD in the future, so fingers crossed for that. Let's see. Okay, let's go ahead and we're gonna go to Bliss Bayou, and I'm in Toontown Central, so Joey, if you want to come over to Toontown Central.
Sure.
I spawn outside of the playground. That's awesome. Okay. Where am I? I'm so confused. Where am I? I'm in the void. There we go. There we go. Okay. So here I am, and I'm adding people right now. I'm gonna add as many of you as I can, but you guys are going crazy with the requests. It's actually lagging me right now. Okay, there you are. Joey, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to add you.
What's the tune name?
Oh my goodness, Crazy Giggle Bumble. And I'm getting like 1,000 friend requests right now. Like, just
says you're unable to answer.
Just look at my mouse. I'm clicking it rapidly, and all these names are popping up. Okay, I saw Sir Max pop up, but I don't even know. The friend requests are way too fast right now. Okay, wait. Okay, I got you, Sir Max.
Okay.
I went ahead and opened my book, and maybe that'll help. I'm trying so hard. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, hold on. Okay. Question. Deputy Chunky says, what do you think of current cog battle mechanics? Some tracks are overly dominant, particularly sound and lure. What do you think about these tracks, and do you think they can be improved to be less overpowered?
Yeah, it's a hard question, just because it's difficult to change the original game's balance without either upsetting a lot of people or like changing the game too much, or, you know, it's a hard thing to do. So if you have suggestions on how to improve sound and lore and, you know, all those gag tracks and stuff, like definitely post them. Post them on r/Toontown Rewritten on Reddit, and, you know, try and get some community support for it and all that kind of stuff, because we're definitely open to changes, but we aren't necessarily sure how we would go about doing it.
Oh my goodness, I'm just kind of sorry. I mean, that's awesome. My mouth is kind of like hanging open right now. This is ridiculous. Like, you could just see the names just coming and going like quickly. It's like, I don't know. This is really insane. Let's see. Puggle Pie says, will SOS lure and drop be fixed for tunes without that respective track? So if you don't have lure and you use a lure SOS, it misses. I don't know if that's supposed to be fixed.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Yeah, I'll put that. I'm sure it's already on our bugs list, and I'll have to see if we've already fixed that and it's like waiting to be deployed, or if we're still waiting on a fix.
Alright guys, be sure you add my tune if you haven't already. It's Crazy Giggle Bumble, the yellow bear. He's sitting in Toontown Central right now. I have about, how many? 46 friends. So be sure to add me. We have a lot of you guys here, so I would love to have you guys in the Doodle Party. Daffodil Fairy says, you mentioned that you wanted to reduce grinding. Will you be changing game mechanics to do so?
Rather than changing existing game mechanics, I'd like to implement new ones. I think that's the best way to go about doing it.
Okay. Dandydorf. Let's see. Let's see. I'm considering an application for a 3D designer, and I want to learn how to design better and help TTR become so much better. So, there wasn't really a question in that one, but do you think you could maybe kind of go into that as if it were a question, like, what should I do if I wanted to be a 3D designer for Toontown Rewritten?
Sure. So our 3D designers use Autodesk Maya as their program, so it's definitely good to be very knowledgeable in that. We love people. Honestly, you don't need to be the most detailed 3D designer. We're not looking for people who can create like a very intricate 3D model with lots of small details and stuff. We're looking for people who have a good idea of how to make something look like a cartoon. So, you know, the best way to do that is practice, like try and model like maybe some pictures, like concept art. Toontown 2 had lots of concept art with stuff that never got modeled. So you could try designing that. You could look at stuff in Disneyland and try and make a 3D model of the buildings there. So there's lots of good ways to practice, and we would love to see the stuff that you produce in your application.
There you go. Not Lucky says, what programs do composers use?
I'm not sure. I think each composer kind of uses their own different program. Yeah, so I'd have to ask them, but there's not a specific program. Like for our 3D modelers, because they collaborate on projects so much, we need people to use Autodesk Maya. But for composing, it's kind of your own kind of thing. There's not a whole lot of collaboration aside from like feedback and all of that. So that it really just depends on, whatever you would like to use as a composer.
There you go. Guys, I have 57 people on my friends list, 58 now. Be sure you add me. I don't want anybody missing out on the doodle party. Because honestly, I've never hosted a doodle party and think that would be awesome. So be sure to add the yellow bear who has the bubble that says, be sure to add me. Thank you, Dandy Dwarf. Electro Snoop says, are you going to add a hard mode? Like there are certain servers with gag nerfs or cog buffs or both. Also, other rewards have... So basically, is there going to be like a hard mode?
It would be really cool to see that. I think earlier I mentioned it would be cool to have hard mode classes. So a district-wide one would be interesting as well. There aren't any plans for that currently, but that's not to say it could never happen.
There you go. Thank you, Electro Snoop. Let's see. Okay, Deputy Chunky typed, well, a chunk of stuff here. He says, how could you make this game more interesting in the end game? Right now, it feels like endless grinding for cog bosses with not much rewards. Is this what we should stick to since Disney wanted this? I personally think there should be more tasteful changes than what TTR is going for right now. I want to make this game more balanced so more people will come play TTR and stick here. Our game will grow stronger with a bigger community, and I think that making changes to the stale cog battle system, even if they deviate from TTO's game design, will go a long way to increasing the game's player base. What do you think about my perspective on this game?
I think that perspective is definitely a very good one. I mean, there's definitely a balance to be had between sticking to the TTO stuff and also implement. And I think, a common misconception, people say a lot that like TTR doesn't want to change any of TTO stuff and like they're never going to implement anything that, TTO didn't have. And that's not true, because we do have lots of great ideas. The difference that I think causes that misconception is when we implement new things, we look at it from a major game design perspective. We've very much analyzed the content that's being put into the game and like how it's going to make people react and interact with it, as opposed to some of these other servers, they'll put in some content that will look really awesome and like, wow, it's new and shiny and everything, but when you get down to like the game design part of it, it really doesn't have like a good long-term principle other than it's new and shiny, if that makes sense. And I don't mean to bash other servers with that, but just kind of explaining how we think about things compared to how someone else might think about it. So yeah, the new content that we want to add for end game players, which would be with this new playground that's under the cloud, as well as the executive office tower, definitely is going to step away from some of the existing stuff in Toontown. Not entirely, but at least a small bit. The new Toon tasks, they aren't going to be defeat 200 cog buildings. They would have, new gameplay in general that will changes to the game as a whole. Because right now it is hard to imagine tasks other than that, just because the game is built around it. But so we want to add new things to the core gameplay. Things that may not have even been thought of yet, that will really bring Toontown up to date, provide some new things that are different than just grinding away over and over again, and also hopefully attract some new players, as you mentioned.
There you go. Okay, so I have 66 people, nobody else is adding me, so I'm gonna assume that we have enough people for this doodle party. So, without further ado, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and go into my estate, and we will see what happens. Alright, wait. And okay, yeah, Barks, sorry, man, I don't know. If you didn't get to add me in time, I'm sorry. We're going to see how this goes. And if I need to add anyone, later, then I will. So here are my two doodles, Ranger, which is Smirky's doodle, and Wellington, which is Bigfoot Wildton's doodle. They're just chilling here right now, but everyone is teleporting to me. So this is about to get really crazy. Look at all these doodles that just spawned. Oh my goodness. All these doodles are spawning in the same spot too. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Look at all these doodles. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, looks like you disconnected.
Yikes, an unexpected problem occurred. Error code 118. No. Okay, we're gonna have to try again. That was...
Yeah, we can try it again.
That was...
The game...
insane.
Yeah, the game certainly wasn't designed to expect, 60 people teleporting at once and 60 doodles spawning at once.
That's true.
If nothing else, we'll do some bug testing right now.
Okay.
And get it working for a future update.
Error code, too many doodles. Yep, that's basically what happened. I broke the game in front of Joey, so I'm banned. Uh-oh. Don't ban me, please. Let's see. Here's a good question from Space Cadet. Will you ever be hosting contests where Toons can submit designs to be put in the game, much like how Toontown Online did, like shirts, furniture, etc.?
Yeah, we've done that before for ToonFest. Beanbags were actually a player-submitted idea that we fully implemented. So it would be awesome to do that again. Yeah, even for clothing and stuff as well.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea too. Okay, let's see. I need to load in, and I'm in Pigment Point, so try going there before you teleport to me, in case stuff happens. And we'll see how long it takes before I crash again. Okay, and here we are. The calm before the storm. Ranger and Wellington just casually sitting right here. There's Ranger. Literally everyone's teleporting to me right now. It's about to get crazy. Oh, yep, I crashed again. Because the players were coming in, but the doodles weren't spawning in. No! Yeah, we're really giving the game a good stress test. Goodness. Here's a good question that anyone can answer, really. 50 Shades of Sandovic says, can you have an option to change which speed chat to use? And you can do that, actually, on the Toontown Rewritten website in your account settings, I think. So it's really easy. You just click a few buttons and there you go. Darn, I was really hoping we could do something like a doodle party. Man, okay. I think somebody tweeted me a clip of the game breaking. That's pretty funny. I'll have to retweet it. Let's see. Deputy Chunky says, I wonder why you and your team want to keep the game as TTO was so badly. Besides the cartoony aesthetic, I really wonder what makes you love this game so much.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, it's kind of that we want to keep it exactly the same as TTO. It's more so that we want it to be exactly TTO before we implement our new stuff. We want doodles to be here before we work on, something else that's super major. And we also want to make sure that we have the original developer's intentions in mind. With all of our updates, we look at them and say, like, is this something that Disney would have originally implemented into the game? Because we're trying to run this game as if we're Disney, not as if it's our game. I think what makes me love the game so much, yes, there's grind and all of that, but teamwork is like such a huge part of Toontown. There's a lot of, almost everything in Toontown revolves around teamwork and building friends and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, the game, while it has its faults, is certainly not a terrible game. I mean, if it was a terrible game that people didn't enjoy playing, then they wouldn't still be playing it today. So there are a lot of things that Toontown got right with its gameplay, and we want to make sure that we don't accidentally destroy those things. You know, the stuff we implement in the future, we want to make sure stays in line with the original idea. And if we decide to do anything completely new, then we need to make sure that it still fits the general scope of Toontown.
There you go. Thank you to those of you, by the way, again, who are following. I really appreciate that. But we're going to keep going with the questions. I saw a good question in Twitch chat. How will the new Toon species be rolled out?
I think that's something you're going to have to wait and see. The new Toon species, we do have to have that final vote between the main two candidates, and you'll actually be able to see, I'm pretty sure, unless we change our minds before then, we're going to make it so you can see the 3D models for the species before you vote on them as the final pick. And so that way, you know what you're voting for, you know what it's going to look like in the game. Now, once the final species is decided, even though those 3D models are done, we also still have to do sound recording, we have to do like animation and like different muzzles and stuff. So it'll take, you know, it'll take a little bit of time before we do see that species, but it is coming very soon, and it will be coming in 2017.
Can't wait. New Toon species gonna be written. Can't wait to see what it is. Thank you, Cody Gray. Appreciate it. Rip Doodle Party. Oh man, you know, we're gonna have to do something else than a Doodle Party. Maybe one day we'll host a Doodle Party, but not today. I don't think today is gonna work out. So I'm back on Smirky in Bliss Bayou in Donald's Dreamland. Wait, you know what? Why don't we go ahead and do another VP, Sir Max, and then we'll find something else to do after the VP.
Sure.
Let's see. I love how some of you are putting in your favorite candidates in the chat that you want people to vote for. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe your candidate will be chosen.
They'll be announced very soon.
Alrighty. Jake the Toon, are you gonna fix the bug with the eyes staying closed?
Yeah, that's on our to-do list. Not sure which update that'll be fixed in, but it's one of the bugs that we need to polish up.
There you go. Club Penguin Party. No, we're not gonna do a Club Penguin Party. We're gonna do a Toontown Rewritten Party. LL Terminal. Last Toonfest at OMGCon, it was briefly mentioned that the way doodles will be trained may potentially be revamped to be less grindy. What happened to that idea? So,
it hasn't gone away. That idea is still there and still going to be implemented. Now, the thing is, with the release of doodles, we know how much the community wanted them, and so we didn't want to waste any time in releasing doodles. Obviously, if we implemented a new system right off the bat, then the release of doodles would have been delayed while we work on that system. So instead, we wanted to, release them in their current state, and then as time goes on, we'll see, some tweaks and new additions to doodles.
There you go. Flapjack, thank you so much for following. Let's see. Laura, another question. Who's your favorite NPC from TTR?
It's fun because a lot of times for the blog posts and stuff, I'm the one who these NPCs and puts life into them and everything. So I think honestly some of my favorite NPCs to write as, I think Lord Loud and Clear is a lot of fun. I love his character. Also, any NPC that has something special about the way they talk, oh, you know what? My favorite NPC to write as of all time is Riggy Marole. He is just so much fun to put life into, and he's just completely crazy. So I love writing blog posts as Riggy Marole. Lord Loud and Clear is a lot of fun whenever he pops up. And also, let's see, I had one other in mind. Oh, Slappy and Alec Tin. both of those are just, you know, again, crazy characters that I love to write as.
Awesome. I'm inviting you, Sir Max. Okay, there we go. Awesome. Saw a couple of questions in Twitch chat. What about mobile for Toontown? Whiteheart.
Yeah, so I want to move Toontown to mobile at some point.
Oh.
Definitely, absolutely. But it's it's a really hard thing to do. Panda 3D has small mobile support, but it would be a massive task to take on. And right now, I feel like Toontown's future does lie in mobile. I don't think it's going to be mobile exclusive like Club Penguin. I think that I would love to see a mobile edition of Toontown, even if it's just like trolley games or something that'll put jelly beans on your main account. So yeah, I think it's going to come. I don't know when it'll come, like whether it'll be through Toontown Rewritten or a Toontown remake by Shell Games or Disney or something. But I would love to see it happen, and you know, maybe it will at some point in the future.
There you go. Let's wait. Okay, let's go in now. There we go. Okay. Let's see. JPB the Human. Have you ever had to talk to the Lawbots over at the Disney company? What did you need to talk about? What do they think about this project?
Well, thankfully, we've never had to talk to the Lawbots at Disney. Disney has never contacted us to say, you know, shut the game down or anything like that. And the reason for that, I firmly believe, is because we don't make money off of Toontown Rewritten, and also we run it as if we were Disney. And that's been our goal since the start, to run it as if Disney never left in the first place. So, yeah, we've never had to talk to Disney in a bad way. But of course, we do keep up with Jesse Shell. There's some other Toontown developers that we've talked to as well. And they've said that, you know, the folks over at Disney are rooting for us. As long as we keep doing things right, a lot of the former Toontown Online developers love that Toontown Rewritten. And, you know, obviously they are not the Lawbots. If Disney wanted to shut Toontown Rewritten down, it doesn't matter what the original developers think. But it's great to hear that the people who originally created the game in the first place think that it's in a good place right now. And, you know, we talk to them often to do whatever we can to keep it that way.
All right, Thunderbolt TTR, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And guys, for those of you who are asking how to go back to the stream, I will be uploading this Q&A onto YouTube. I'll be exporting it directly from Twitch, so you guys can see all the questions being answered on there. It might take a while for it to actually go to YouTube, so please be patient on that. So thank you guys so much for bringing that up to our attention. Passion XX says, what would be the #1 thing you wish Disney did with Toontown differently? Thank you.
That's a very good question. And I'm not quite sure right off the top of my head. I wish that in the later years of Toontown's life, I do wish that Disney was more involved and advertised it more. I think if they just released one major update and kept up the advertisements on Disney Channel, as well as fixed the hacking and everything, I'm sure that you guys remember. I think that would have completely changed the course of Toontown's history. So yeah, I'm really disappointed that in the later years of Toontown, they didn't quite hit the mark. You know, with all the internal stuff, I know that a lot of people were laid off, and they changed. They've kind of favored Club Penguin and all of that. So I do wish that all of that was done differently.
I agree. Oh, a lot of people are asking in the chat right now about the Grand Prix in racing, and they want that to be fixed.
Yeah, it will be. So, like I mentioned earlier, there's kind of 3 main things that were on our hurdles to get Toontown out of beta. So, Doodles was the biggest and most intimidating hurdle, I guess. And, you know, those are now released and done. So that's one that we've already crossed. The other two are parties. We talked about earlier that parties are practically done and will be released at some point either before or during the convention. And then racing is the final piece to the puzzle. Where there's lots of bugs with racing, it just needs to be completely rewritten since that was alpha code. And like we talked about earlier, there's a difference between writing code to, work on alpha for a couple hundred people and writing code that'll work for a couple thousand people. And that's the same reason that parties were in alpha and are no longer in the game now, because we had to completely rewrite the code to manage a much larger scale. And so with that racing update, Grand Prix will most likely be coming with it.
Sounds good. This kind of brought up a personal question in my head. So, Joey, you remember how on Toontown Online the party threshold for how many people could be in parties was like 20?
Mm-hmm.
Do you plan on like increasing that threshold?
I think it would be awesome if we can increase that threshold. The only reason I think that we wouldn't is just because right now, if you get more than 20 tunes in the same area right now, as we saw earlier where we had like 50 tunes in that area, it gets very laggy. And so I feel like before we increase that limit, maybe we can bump it up to like 30 or something at launch. But otherwise, I want to work on our client performance first so that, having all those tunes in the area won't completely bog down the game.
That makes sense. Moo Man, no, parties won't replace Toonfest. Toonfest is a completely separate event that is held annually by Chippendales. Parties are just a completely separate thing from Toonfest.
Mm-hmm. There are party activities at Toonfest that we've kind of recycled, but yeah, Toonfest it's different than parties.
Okay, let's see. Lex Dragon, let's see. Are there any more chances for the Cog Crusher outfit in the future?
Yes, there will be. In fact, like I mentioned this weekend at our, there's some rumors going around that the Cogs are going to be launching a mega. You can bet that some Resistance Rangers will be running around, and they might just be giving out that outfit.
Ah, so Joey cut off there. He said that there are going to be rumors, there are rumors that this weekend, right, there will be a mega invasion by the Cogs, and the Resistance Rangers will be running around. Fun fact: I named my doodles. I named my doodle Ranger because back in Toontown Online, I was a huge fan of the Resistance Rangers. Like, I would go crazy over them. So, you might see some Rangers running around, and they might be able to give out that Cog Crusher suit. So, hope you guys get excited for that. This kind of brings back memories when they gave out the Cellbot suit that I'm wearing right now. The where you were able to get that suit. Is that the suit you're talking about?
I think that's the one that I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they're talking about a different suit.
They might be talking about that yellow suit.
The yellow suit, I believe, was available for April Tunes Week if you went in the pet shop. And did those tasks for Professor Prepostra.
All right. Looks like we're on the same side, so I think we got this. Hey, Moo, congrats, man. Alright, let's see. Caden says, would you ever consider making an option where you could use the old Toontown Online Pick-a-Toon screen?
I don't think so, just because the Pick-a-Toon screen didn't really change that much. I think the closest you can get to that are resource packs, and that's kind of the reason that we implemented them. Yeah, content packs. That way you can set your own textures, and you could put the Pick-a-Toon screen back to how it's supposed to be if you wanted to, I think.
Alright. Mooman has an interesting idea. He says, this is kind of off topic, but the picnic tables, where there is food, they don't do anything now. Could it be modified so that you regain, let's say, a laugh point per minute?
Yeah, maybe something like that. Acorn Acres definitely has a lot of potential that I think would be cool to implement.
I agree. Crazy Jamal says, how old were you when you created Toontown Rewritten?
I was 15 when we started working on Toontown Rewritten. And I just turned 19 last week, so.
Happy birthday! Belated birthday. Let's see. Buster says, will there ever be gag rewrites? Many MMOs have that sort of thing. I think it would be nice to have it in Toontown for those people who may have accidentally picked the wrong gag track and don't want to start the game all over again.
It could be possible. Like, I do know that there are other MMOs that do similar kinds of things. So we'll probably talk about it as a team and see. The only thing that I'm really opposed to is just that I think it is cool to be able to make new tunes. And like, instead of experiencing the entire game on one single tune, I think you have to play through multiple times to get the full experience of Toontown.
There you go. Barks had an interesting idea as well. He says, the Cellbot Factory is cool and all and allows for a lot of exploration. However, what would thoughts be on having a second interior factory with higher up cogs like the Mint and DA offices, and a higher, like, merit count? So basically, like, having a second factory with the cogs being the same level as the Mint, DA offices, and cog golf courses.
That'd be a really cool idea. I certainly have nothing against it. The only thing is just like, we have so many things we want to implement that we have to balance how we would, like, you know, prioritize our time for it. So while it's a cool idea, I'm not sure if we'll ever see it, just because it would be better to implement some of the other things instead.
All right. Hello, Icy Kid. Let's see. Crazy Charlie. Any plans to release much smaller updates in between bigger updates to hold us over, such as perfecting WASD support and pushing that out, or fixing a bug or two a week? Or is this counterproductive?
No, that's definitely what our goal is. And honestly, the reason that it hasn't been like that for, you know, it used to kind of be like that during the alpha and early. And then we got to the point where there was so much that needed to be done that we needed to just take some time between November and April is how it's been so far, to just kind of restructure ourselves as a team. And also, you know, with the Doodle update, we completely cleared out, or no, with the April Fool's update, we actually completely cleared out some of our old alpha code and completely rewrote the system that deploys updates, which makes it a lot faster and a lot easier to produce updates in the future. So as time goes on, it'll be a gradual thing, but you'll start seeing more and more updates. Certainly there won't be months in between updates as there has been in the past. But that's dependent on, you know, getting used to our new update system and also bringing on new programmers to the team.
All right. Hello, Pam the cat. Bark says, ever wondered what it'd be like to live life as a toon?
All the time.
All the time. Thank you, Charlie, and Barks, thank you. Renderer says, going back to the Toontown Rewritten storyline, how far back was the storyline when it was just a headcanon?
Like how long ago did I think of it in my head?
Sure.
Let's see. It was probably around the time that fire burning video was released, or shortly after. And I think that actually tied into it in some small ways. So I want to say maybe 2010 to like somewhere in that area is when this storyline was actually like in my head. And obviously it's changed since then, but kind of the core ideas of it were formed back then.
Okay, awesome. Open Hearted says, are we allowed to update applications we've sent in, or is it frowned upon?
You can update applications. I wouldn't do it super, like, don't update it every week or anything, but yeah, I mean, especially if some time has gone by, feel free to send us another email in reply to your original email, most preferably, just with whatever updated information you'd like to share.
All right. I hate to throw a question like this, but last summer, hold on. Last summer, you made a promise for a summer of updates or a summer to expect things, and not a lot has happened. Will those potentially not promising happen? Well, will those things potentially happen this summer?
Yeah, so that was one of the things where, like I mentioned, we had problems with TuneFest this year. There was, we feel like we let you guys down in a lot of ways. And so that after TuneFest, we sat down as a team. We had a big meeting and we discussed how we're going to improve our game. And I drafted up this, couple months long process where we talked about like, okay, what needs to change? And what kind of things can we do to make ourselves better, and how can we prioritize them? How can we interact with the community better, and all sorts of stuff like that. Like, how can we prevent over-promising and not being able, like, why haven't we been able to deliver? And so far it has been, I honestly tell you, it has been a huge change since November, since we drafted out that plan. And every part of that plan, part of which was posted on our blog, which is kind of detailed like a little bit what we were hoping to do. And every part of it has gone almost perfectly so far. And just the fact that, doodles have been released is just incredibly motivating, both to the community and to our team. And there's a lot of stuff that is coming with the convention that we're working on. Like, that's kind of going to be our mark that we hope to finish this team reform effort. And, I can't give you much other than my word right now, but things have changed a lot on our team for the better. And, the way that I described it earlier, I think, is last year we kind of took a year-long tour of sorts where we were really focused on expanding the community. We had that, like, we had 1 million players, we had media stuff that went on, convention and all that. And just a lot of things happened that I think made our community stronger. But in that process, we got about like focusing on the game and putting our efforts into that. And so now that's what's changed this year. And this is all kind of a convoluted way of saying that, yes, you can expect to see a lot more updates this summer, and hopefully we won't let you down as we had with last year's TuneFest and all of that. A lot of game development is just about learning from mistakes.
Gotcha. Thank you for answering that and for asking that. Thank you so much, Barks. Let's see. What do you want to do now?
Well, why don't we go ahead and start, wrapping up the questions. We can answer like a couple more and maybe try and end the stream in like 15 to 20 minutes.
That's fine.
Just since, I got to head out and do some other things, get back to work on the game and get some dinner too.
All right. Okay. Let's see.
But yeah, I'm up for anything that you want to do in game until then.
Okay. Do you want to maybe go golf?
Sure, we could try that.
Okay. So I will say there are over 115 questions on that Reddit post, and there are lots more coming in Twitch chat. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to get through all the questions on the Reddit post, and if your question does not get called out by the time Sir Max has to leave us, then I will make sure in some way, shape, or form, possibly, that I share those questions with him and that he can get back to you guys on those questions. So we'll try to get through as many questions as we can before we have to go. What golf course do you want to do? I'll follow you.
Let's see. Let's try the yellow ones.
Which one?
We'll go for here, wholesome fun.
Okay. I'm in. Alright, sweet. Okay, if you guys have questions, please put them in the Reddit. I know a lot of you guys have questions in Twitch chat. Please put them on the Reddit post. Create a Reddit account. It's completely free. And check out the Toontown Rewritten subreddit while you're at it. Okay.
Another thing about the Toontown Rewritten subreddit is, we have staff members there a lot. I'm on the subreddit a lot. So even if it's not answered during the stream, you can still post it there. And, we do our best to answer as many questions as we can.
There you go. Now let's see if Sir Max can make this shot. Oh, he missed. Wow. All right. Let's see. Relaxed Sunday. Would you consider putting in an in-game pop-up where you could read the past chat in that area? So like a chat log.
Yeah, that's something that we've talked about. I'm not sure if the idea was approved or not, but definitely something that might happen.
All right. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Whatever happened to the second half of the 2016 Toontown Tweaks? Sketchy says.
Those are one of the things that, right now, before announcing any new projects and stuff like that, we're hoping to release all of our other projects. So that's one of the things on the to-do list. Like I said, a lot of the promises that we had in the past were up in the air and changed when November came around and we decided to try and redo some of our priorities.
Okay. Awesome. Renderer again says, will ARGs be drastically different in regards to how the solution will be achieved?
That it really depends on the ARG. Like it depends on what kind of stuff is done for each one. Oh man, I just barely hit that block.
Yeah.
So each ARG will be different in its own way, and we'll see what happens in the future for that.
Sounds good. Deputy Chunky says, I noticed that other tunes have choppy animations when running, even when there are only a few other tunes nearby. Do you know what causes this? Could you fix it soon? So it's basically the lag problems that a lot of people are reporting.
Yeah, so that's one of the things, again, one of the other things we want to look into. Like we game and get it in a really good state, especially once our new website comes out, since that's when we're going to start marketing towards new players and everything. So a lot of the stuff that we're doing right now is like looking at some of the long-term bugs in the game and figuring out the best way to fix them.
All right. So, the lag that a lot of players are experiencing right now, that's being looked into?
Yeah, and, after any new update, especially one as large as Doodles, sometimes the week afterwards, it's just, it's a little bit shaky. Doodles have actually been pretty smooth, but there have been some bugs that we've discovered, and we're working on implementing those fixes that'll be coming, in an update either later this week or next.
All right. Lots of questions. Let's see. Oh, okay. Here's an interesting question that I think I've asked before, but not today. Deputy Chunky says, would you collaborate with head developers from other Toontown implementations and share your ideas with each other? I think if people from other Toontown communities such as Altus ODS come together and help make Toontown overall much more fun and more strategic, this community will grow hugely and bring in many more people, including people who left Toontown Online years ago. What do you think about that?
It's one of those things where it's not, it's not that we're not open to doing that. It's that I feel that the other developers aren't as open to doing that, even if they say otherwise. A lot of, our applications for Toontown Rewritten development are open. and other developers can apply to join our team, and we'd be happy to have them. But sadly, I think that a lot of people rather just create their own Toontown instead of joining like one big effort. Because ideally, I would like Toontown Rewritten to be like the primary Toontown server, and I do think it's kind of silly that we have other Toontown servers, just because it would be better to be working together on one big game instead of separating the community. But I mean, it's up to those developers if they'd like to apply to join our team.
All right, there you go. Thank you, Deputy. Let's see. Barth says, can you add where doodles have more moves? I don't know if I asked a question like that before. Like different
tricks and such.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We might see that in the future. It's not like a super high priority thing, but it would be cool to see that.
There you go. And I'm just gonna make a hole in one real quick. Oh, okay, it bounced out. That's thanks physics. All right. So Prince Duck. Okay, yeah. Joey just basically talked about other people and the other servers. So thank you for that. Renderer, for the tournaments at the convention, will there be a separate client for stuff like racing, golf, and trolley games that are more balanced and more geared towards competition play? I remember playing in the trolley game tournament and we had to null out certain games.
Yeah, we're talking about ways to improve the tournament this year. Last year was the first year that we had it. And so, I mean, especially that it wasn't the smoothest thing ever. Oh man, that was a really bad shot. But so we haven't really gotten to that stage of the planning yet. I'm more focused on like the panels and stuff right now. But we'll see how the tournaments improve. There'll definitely be some improvements, and that's a really good idea that we might see.
All right. Okay, that went in that time. Awesome. Okay, Penguini says, Cashbot Storm, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. So a lot of people are asking about a potential Cashbot event, like Storm Cellbot. But what do you think?
I think that, I mean, I know Lord Loud and Clear would definitely be for that. Any opportunity to get into it. And he does always wear the Cashbot Cog suit. It's his favorite. So, could be something that we see.
All right. Silly Banana Muffin and Renkindling, thank you guys for following. I appreciate that. Let's get some more questions in before you have to go. Will there be any kinds of balancing and tedious trophies for golfing and racing, such as the notorious 600 multiplayer courses trophy at Epic Rocker?
I think that's some tweaks that we definitely might see. There aren't any specific plans right now, but I know that one is, horrible to get through, and game that I certainly don't golf very much because I don't think it's the most fun activity in Toontown. So, yeah, hopefully we'll be able to improve that in at least some small ways.
There you go. Renderer again on fire with these questions. What is your favorite doodle trick?
My favorite doodle trick? I'd say it's either dance or play dead. I think those two are the coolest.
I agree.
Especially, when we were implementing Fluffy appearing in the shops, it was, I made sure that, the very first thing that you would see when you see would do that dancing animation that I think provoked a lot of nostalgia for people to see that in game again.
I agree. Oh yeah, Twiteheart, thank you. If I don't bring up another question from Twitch chat, it's this one. Golf boarding groups. Some people want golf boarding groups.
Yeah, that would be a very cool idea. I know we've talked about that before. So boarding groups right now are programmed specifically for cogs, but it could be cool to see them used for like trolley games or golf or racing or whatever.
Yeah, so maybe you guys will see that in the future. Mooman, I'm reading comments from oldest to newest, so I'm trying to get through them really, really quickly. So, let's see. Passion says, I heard you enjoy Gravity Falls. So do I. Who is your favorite character?
I think that Bill Cipher is my favorite character from Gravity Falls.
Bill Cipher. How did that not go in? I'm okay. Okay. uh, let's see. Renderer, again. For applications, are you required to specify every single TTR account you own, or is it a handful?
You should specify every account that you own, just because if you don't, then we'll find them anyway. You know, it's for the sake of looking at your chat logs and making sure that, you know, there's nothing like hideous would prevent you from getting onto the team.
There you go. Let's see. Coffee tip. How long until the multilingual speed chat support will come into play? Also, will all languages be released at once, or will you guys spread them out to increase the amount of updates released?
So that was one of the things I mentioned earlier. That project's currently on hold. But we'll see. We'll talk about pretty soon when we want to bring that back to Toontown or like start working on it again. The languages definitely, like, obviously there's tons of languages in the world, so we'll probably, sorry, I'm chewing on ice right now. We'll probably start out with, what was it, Polish and French and German, I think were the 3 languages we were working on. And those will probably be the first released, and then we'll have more to come later as the community, you know, submits translations.
Sounds good. Thank you. I'm doing this for you, Smirky, for following. Whoever created that name is a legend. Okay, let's just get a hole in one real quick. Or not. You can just okay.
That's all the way back to the start.
Yeah, that's great. Let's see. Buster, what happened to Toontown Tweaks 2? The only thing that seemed to have been added from that was the Toon ID tags. What about the fishing buckets and estates that was featured in one of the images?
Yeah, so those are still coming, and it will be in one of our future updates. We've just kind of reprioritized what we were working on, and, you know, a lot of the community said that they didn't want tweaks right now, they wanted more content, and so, you know, we changed our priorities to fit that, and that's why, you know, Doodles came out when they did. But it's still definitely coming in one of our future updates as we, you know, continue to work on things.
There you go. Thank you so much. Buster. A Persekion, I tried. People have been breaking rules too much. Can you bring back automatic kicks?
Yeah, I mean, I can't talk a whole lot about our moderation systems, but I can tell you that we have made a lot of improvements to our moderation, like backend systems that, you know, you guys don't immediately see, but, you know, it's definitely made a huge improvement, you know, from our side of things that we can see. So, but thank you for that suggestion.
Yeah, thank you so much. Star Dark Sky. When cogs and tunes speak, will there be mouth movement? Also, when the cogs speak, will there be voice actors playing their quotes? Interesting.
I don't think we have any plans to make cogs and tunes speak with, you know, actual words. I think that we'll stick with the sound effects. It would be cool if maybe tune models were improved to, I know the Toontown 2 models had like actual mouth movements and stuff, so that would be cool. But there won't be a time when the cogs and tunes are actually, you know, saying words out loud.
Mm-hmm. All right. Mooman says, being able to carry every SOS tune, is that a feature almost ready for deployment?
I want to say yes. That should be a feature that we see in one of the upcoming updates.
All right. Rocco Zip and Speed. Will potential video editors be taught how to use Panda 3D? Also, is there any training involved for that specific position?
Yeah, so the video editors we're looking for people who can create the kind of stuff like the source of the silliness video. You know, I'm the one who currently does the video editing, And, you know, we're looking for people who can replicate that kind of stuff. You know, because then I can get back to the stuff that I need to do, and have someone else do video editing more often instead of just a couple times a year. So yeah, there's definitely a degree of training that'll be involved. Like, you don't need to have the massive amount of skill right off the bat. And yeah, I definitely keep trying to do stuff with Panda 3D or any kind, like whatever works best for you for video editing. I know there's some Toontown videos out there that make use of like 3D modeling programs and stuff like that. And if you look at my fire burning video, that used Panda 3D, and that's like a very simple version of what I'm looking for, I guess. So yeah, there's definitely room to be trained, and you don't need to be an expert right off the bat.
There you go. Yeah, that was quite the attempt to finally get the ball in the hole. 10 out of 10 golfing right there. You know what, Yixing? I'm sorry. I tried. I did my best. Thank you, Rocco, for the question. Buster. There are tons of unnecessary invisible walls in the game that really restricts exploration in the game, most notably the Donald's Dreamland pillow and the left side of the Lawbot HQ hub. Will these ever be refined?
Yeah, I think that would be great. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, it kind of depends on like what our priorities are and whether or not it's worth it at the time. Oh man. But I would definitely like to, you know, the downstream pillow would be great to turn that into a trampoline or something and add more inner playgrounds and areas.
There you go. Let's see. Barks, will there be an extension to True Friends once added? As in, will there be more ideas than just having a secret chat with True Friends?
Yeah, True Friends are one of those things that we're not sure how we're going to go about doing it yet, because we're not sure if we want to have completely open chat, just because the internet, as it was when Toontown, like Toontown Online existed, is different now, and the communities are different now. And we want to make sure that players are still as safe as possible. So we'll see what happens with that. We certainly have ideas, but nothing set in stone of how True Friends are going to be implemented yet. And again, that's one of those things where it's like, it's a lower priority, at least until we can get more programmers on the team who can, you know, focus on that.
Makes sense. Thank you, Barks. Let's see. Deputy Chunky, what do you think will make Toontown more interesting from cog battles, boss battles, parties, duels, etc.? So, like, what else could you do to make Toontown more interesting, I guess?
I want to say, like, more mini games is what I want to see.
Oh yeah,
like
trolley mini
more
games.
Yeah, like trolley mini games, more doodle mini games, even just like in the boss battles, like new ways to fight the cogs and all that kind of stuff. You know, there's a lot of Toontown is a huge universe. Like there's a lot of potential there, and all sorts of gameplay that could be added.
Thank you for that. XRed66 says, will you ever add more Toon icons? So like the icons over your head, I guess.
I don't know. I know that I've seen some ideas for like guilds and emblems and stuff like that. So that could be something that we see. Right now, the icons are mainly just for staff members, Toon Troopers and Resistance Rangers.
And you guys might have also seen that blue icon with the eyes that identifies staff members. So that's a different icon.
Right.
We're almost through the entirety of the subreddit questions, so if you want to stick around just a few more minutes, we can get through them really quickly.
Sure, let's go for it.
Okay, let's see. I don't know, Deputy, I don't know if this one would be known by Joey. Have the folks at Disney discussed their opinions on other Toontown private servers that try to change the game more and bring more changes in a shorter amount of time? I don't know if you would know that one.
I don't think that, I mean, I don't know the answer to that, but I don't think that Disney has a lot of focus on those other servers. You know, Toontown is not important to them right now because they aren't the ones running it. Now, they certainly check to make sure that, you know, Toontown servers are keeping in line with their vision. And, you know, it, it, I really fear that some of these servers have made wrong choices that, you know, we had the whole Steam Greenlight instance with Project Altus and stuff like that. And, you know, that kind of stuff makes it really difficult for Disney to keep allowing these servers to run. Not just Altus, but, you know, all the servers. If there's any potential that they're going to try and make money off of Toontown or slander the name in some way. So, you know, Disney is essentially the sleeping bear that we don't want to poke. You know, we prefer to be friends with the bear. Yeah. So that I will say that Toontown has some really bright future in store for it. I know that Jesse Shell has not given up on trying to bring Toontown back. I think that we're closer to that point now than ever before. And we just need to bind together as a community and keep going that way. You know, it's not about other servers or who creates content the fastest or anything like that. It's about Toontown and the love of it and the idea of it and the fact that it still has a future. You know, it's easy to get caught up in like, oh, like Project Altus or Toontown, whatever, released like this really cool content and they were faster than TTR and all that. But it's not about that. It's about binding together as a community and making sure that we keep Toontown the way it's supposed to be.
All right. Couple of questions here. Jake the Toon, when will you let content packs have custom models?
The reason we don't allow custom models is because if you change the collisions of the game, you know, you could get rid of this goofy statue right here, and then that way you could walk through walls to the screen. Since the models store collision info, then we don't allow people to change the models.
All right. How long had Doodles been completed before they were implemented from Bill TTR?
They had been, well, Doodles had been near completion for a long time. They were, the week of April Toons Week was essentially when the major testing was done for it. But we knew, you know, obviously we knew coming into April Toons Week that Doodles were pretty much done and would be released. And that's why we implemented the fluffy thing and the video and all of that. But we released them basically as soon as we knew that they were ready.
All right. Silly Banana Muffin 1 says, what about making the black toon color available to all toons and not just cats?
I don't think we would do that just because it's generally more of a cog color. And I think the exclusiveness is better for cats.
All right. Let's see. Looking at more questions. Let's see. Still looking. If your application was rejected, can you still create a new application?
Yeah, I think it's it depends on the way that it was rejected. I think there's 2 different notices or something. I'm not in, we have hiring managers who handle that, but I believe that there's a 6-month waiting period that we ask that you wait before applying again.
All right. Let's see. Will there be infinite friends implemented in the future? I really want to friend someone very awesome like Smirky, but that person has a full friends list.
Well, so the friends list, the reason it has a limit on it is actually a limitation of the game. So whenever you log onto a toon with a friends list, it has to ask the server, you know, to send the names of all your friends. Now, if you had 1,000 friends, then it would have to ask for, you know, 1,000 different toons. and pull up their information and stuff like that. So it would bog down the server and create some unnecessary lag.
And plus, we saw what happened with just 100 people trying to teleport to me in the estate, and
Right.
that was pretty
Yeah.
insane. So I don't know how that would work with 1,000. Somebody asked in the game, will there be more Skelecog in version 2.0 invasions?
Yeah, I think that those happen on a like semi-annual basis or something like that. Like every 6 months or so, we try and do one of those. So I think that there actually is a Skelecog invasion coming up pretty soon.
Ooh, all right. Be on the lookout for that, guys. Let's see. Will there be so X Red 66? Will there be any more species elections in the future?
Maybe. We haven't talked about it, but there very well could be.
All right. Will Toontown Rewritten be on other game platforms like PS4, Nintendo Switch, 3DS, etc.?
It would be awesome if it was, but that's just something that's a little bit out of our scope.
That's like a
That
long
would be
shot.
Yeah, that would be something that I would hope for with a Toontown remake.
All right. We're on our last few questions here. If I were to put in an application for moderation, how much time would I be putting in, and would I still be able to stream without restrictions?
So a moderation application, I'm not sure exactly how much time you put in per week. I mean, it's whatever you can put in, but obviously more. You know, we ask that obviously it's a couple hours per week. And the more you can put in, the better it is. As for streaming, we don't allow moderators to stream on their moderation account. So, because, you know, moderators, they have stuff on their screen that people don't normally see to help better keep the game safe. And so you can have a separate account for streaming, but you can't stream on your moderation tune. Like, you know, like I'm on Sir Max right now, and I wouldn't be allowed to let you guys see my screen because there's things that I can see players aren't supposed to be able to.
Personal question, has the staff considered like streaming Toontown Rewritten on like accounts that aren't staff accounts?
They have, and I mean some of them do. It's just, you know, we're so busy with everything related to Toontown and keeping it up. Like running an MMO is just a huge task. Like, I know not everyone realizes how much work we put into it, but you know, it takes thousands of hours of people's time to keep Toontown running just every week. Well, I'll say hundreds for every week, thousands probably for a month. So, you know, it's hard to make that extra time to do so.
All right. Let's see. I really think that the Toontown Deputy Chunky. I really think that the Toontown community as a whole, including all private servers, should find ways to keep in touch with Disney and share their visions of Toontown with each other and opinions. This will help avoid misconceptions, foster trust, and let everyone know what Disney will allow. Since Disney made TTO the way it is, does it approve of the new changes on the other smaller servers? Yeah, basically.
Well, so we do keep in contact with, you know, we're in close contact with Jesse Shell, and we're obviously, you know, we work with them to try and figure out what will be best for the good of Toontown. And so, yeah, we do that basically on our side. Now, the thing is that Toontown is not the center of Disney's universe. Like the executives at Disney, and even, I mean, Jesse Shell loves Toontown, but he has other things to worry about too. So they don't keep in touch with like the specifics of what's being implemented and stuff like that. Just the general idea that the game is going well and has a lot of players and all that kind of thing. So, you know, I'm even very doubtful that they know about the existence of other private servers other than, you know, just briefly checking on them. But, you know, with Toontown Rewritten, where it has a couple thousand players, we do know that Disney checks in on us, and we can see like through Google Analytics and everything else that they do, make sure that, visit our website and make sure that things are going well. But, Toontown is a very low priority for Disney, and that's what we want to change.
There you go. A lot of questions about retextured. Joey did answer questions about retextured, and when this stream goes live on my YouTube channel, you should be able to find and pinpoint that question about retextured. He did explain a lot about that. Barks brought up a question real quick. He says, a lot of people are shopping in the VP, and this leads to others to suffer. Is there a way to cover the SOS until the end so people don't ditch each other?
Yeah, we've thought about that. I think there's a place on our discussion where we talked about some ideas to maybe fix that. So maybe that could be one of the tweaks in the future.
All right. Darth Toon says, Joey, if foxes did win the TTR species election, how would you make them different? And I guess you can take that question and apply it to the other candidates too.
Mm-hmm. Well, our artists work very hard to make sure that, whatever species is going to go into the game, it's going to fit very well in the game, and it's going to be different in the game. Aren't going to be monkeys, or, they're going to be a completely newly modeled species, and we'll make sure that they look different enough for you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Will all Disney assets be removed in the future?
Our philosophy with the Disney stuff is basically we don't go out of our way to add it, and we don't go out of our way to remove it, because I think that is what keeps it the most low key, I guess. If we went out of our way to add Mickey Mouse and Toontown Central, that's something that requires programming, then people would notice that. If we went out of our way to remove Minnie Mouse from, Match Minnie or Clarabelle from the catalog, that would require extra programming, and people would notice that. So our philosophy is that we aren't going out of our way to implement Disney content, but we aren't going out of our way to remove it either. We're just kind of leaving it as is. And that attracts the least amount of attention to it. 4 years that we've been doing Toontown Rewritten, practically 4 years, that has worked out very well. People hardly even notice that the Disney stuff is there, and they hardly even notice that it's missing as well. And I think that's a very happy balance that we've got going on.
Very nice. 50 Shades of Sandovic says, is there any other word on other uses for the tunnel in Chippendales?
The one that leads to Toonfest right now?
Yeah, I think. So the event tunnel.
Yeah. Well, right now it just leads to Toonfest. Maybe there'll be other stuff there in the future, but for now it's just it's an event area for Toonfest and other related things.
All right. Just a couple more questions and then we'll stop. I know you have to go, but just a couple more.
It's all good.
And then we'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of questions coming in too. Thank you guys throughout the whole stream who have been commenting and answering or submitting questions. I appreciate that. Am Neighbors says, fun question. What is your favorite cog and why?
I like the Big Cheese a lot. Mr. Hollywoods are cool too. And probably Flunky. Those three are my favorites. And I don't really know why, other than just I like their personality, like their appearance, and just like the phrases they say and all that kind of stuff.
All right. Deputy Chunky, a lot of people have been wondering about the overall progress of TTR. There haven't been many major updates in a long time apart from Doodles. How could you keep in touch with the community and let everyone know that you are really working hard to create the great content still in development?
So like I said, we kind of took a break between Toonfest and now to get things back on track. And Doodles is marking the beginning of when you're going to start seeing those things like, we're trying, I know someone described it as like TTR going back to its glory days and stuff like that. And that's certainly what we're aiming for. Um, it's hard for us to keep in touch with the content just because we don't want people to get overhyped or, expect it too soon and stuff like that. And so the ways to go about letting people know about our content is, things like this stream. I've talked a lot about the new content that's coming over the next few months, and also as well as some content that you might expect next year. Yeah. So parties especially are something that you can look forward to soon, as well as a racing revamp and some doodle tweaks and fixes.
All right. MF was says, what would you say is the biggest feature of the new website that everyone will enjoy the most? Try not to spoil too much.
It's hard to say since it's not done yet. Yeah, I think that one of the biggest things about the new website that I'm focusing on is a better way of keeping people in touch with Toontown. Like, I want people to easily be able to tell when a new update has been released versus a storyline post or versus, some posts honestly are just for filler and just for the people who, like reading stories about Toontown. And so there's a lot of different types of players, and we want to make sure to accommodate all of those players. So the new website will definitely try to be very interactive and very immersive with the game.
All right. And somebody, XRed66, kind of touched on the blog. He said, will there ever be more communication on the TTR blog? 1 week is a little too long, and I think it should be every 4 or 5 days instead. So, like, more frequency on the blog.
It honestly depends. Sometimes, there's some cases where we have a post every day. And then there's some cases where it might be like a week or two between updates. And it all depends on what's going on in the world of Toontown and also what's going on in the world of our personal lives. Sometimes I don't always have enough time to do more than one blog post a week, especially because there's, like I said, hundreds of hours being put into the game every week, like as a combination between everyone. So there's always a lot of stuff going on in Toontown. Definitely try to keep the blog up to date, and I think it's most active when there's like more content for us to release. So, this week we had doodles. There'll definitely be a blog post this weekend and some others coming next week as well about, continuing and also bringing up stuff about the convention and all sorts of things like that.
Okay, 2 more questions and I think we'll wrap things up. Smurf says,
okay.
In retextured, will there be less lag? I know that it's difficult considering the more polygons means more lagging.
Yeah, that's one of the things, like I think I talked about client performance earlier, is one of the things that I want to fix up and make it so, people can play Toontown without having to worry about like it being super laggy if there's a lot of tunes in the area. And so that would be done by the time of retextured's release.
Okay. Okay, I lied. 2 more questions. Now 2 more questions. Why is it taking some tasks like fixing golfing and bringing doodles so long? I know that some other servers managed to get some core TTO content within weeks or months, but many seemingly simply implement from, or many seemingly simple implements from TTO have taken many months or years.
So, I don't know if you've noticed, but the doodles from other servers are a lot buggier than Toontown rewritten doodles, and they simply aren't, there's just a lot about them that doesn't work the way it should. The other thing is also, as I touched on earlier, implementing something for a few hundred players is very different than implementing something for a few thousand players. So those servers are able to quickly implement doodles in a state that works for them. If you were to try and put those doodles on the same scale of Toontown rewritten, then it would not be pleasant, and there would be, a lot that went wrong with it. So yeah, it takes us time because we really seek out not to implement stuff the fastest, but to implement it in the most high quality way that will hold up for years to come.
All right. And one more question, and then we're gonna end things off. If your question did not get answered, by the way, I'll let Joey. Do you think you'll have time to go on the Reddit post and answer some of the questions in there?
I might be able to, yeah. I mean, I can't answer hundreds of them, but I can, pick out some and, just over the next few weeks, like keep using Reddit and keep asking questions, and, I browse it in my spare time.
All right, so the last question is going to be from Rocco Zippenspeed, and he says, "You probably got asked this, but what do you enjoy most about working on Toontown Rewritten?"
What I enjoy most about working on Toontown Rewritten is being a part of such a big thing. The Toontown community is huge. There's just so much that goes on in it, and it's just unbelievable, honestly. And being able to watch Toontown videos and hear people say like "Joey, please," and mention my name. When I'm not even listening. Like I know, I'm sure that you've done that with Murky, where say something about Joey, may not be listening or ever hear it
Ask
at
Joey
all.
if he has played with his own doodles.
So
They don't work
it's
half
just
the
it's
time.
cool to be a part of
Nice
something
buzz.
that's like mind-blowingly big, and being able to please so many people in the community with doing streams like this and the content that we produce, like seeing all of the hype from doodles, and just kind of knowing that that things are going well for Toontown. So that's honestly my favorite part, just putting so much, it's a lot of work that we put into Toontown, but it's worth it to see, this game that I played when I was younger and that the rest of the team played when we were younger, just still be thriving and lots of people enjoying it.
All right, Darwin, thank you, by the way. So I think with that, as much as I know a lot of you still have tons and tons of questions, and I'm still getting tons and tons of questions, and I really appreciate that. Just keep the questions coming on the Reddit, and also, look, I appreciate the questions coming on the Reddit. Thank you so much. With that being said, though, I think Joey needs to get going. He's got a lot of stuff to do tonight. So is there anything you'd like to say to end off the event, I guess?
Sure. So I just want to thank you guys for being such an awesome community, and putting, even though we're the ones who developed Toontown Rewritten, you guys are the ones who put life into it. It wouldn't be the same only 100 people playing Toontown Rewritten as opposed to the thousands that we have. And I know people have mentioned how population has dwindled over the years, but it's honestly something that we expected as we continued to implement stuff, and we're not scared about not being able to get that population back. We're confident that Toontown's only growing from here. So it's just awesome to see all the stuff that you do. Make sure, if you can, come to Replay FX for the ToonFest convention, because it is going to be amazing. It's like, as a Toontown player, it will be the highlight of your year to be there. We have lots of stuff to announce. You'll get to meet me face to face and all the other players and staff members. And also, if you think that these questions are good, the hard-hitting ones come at the convention, and we answer a lot of exciting stuff there. And even if you're not able to come, make sure to watch the videos and stay up to date through our social media. Other than that, thanks for hanging out with us in game. Make sure to check out r/Toontown Rewritten on Reddit. That's our new community that we launched. The staff members hang out there, and it is an unofficial place, but it's been a really positive place for discussion so far, and I think that the Toontown community is benefiting from it. Yeah, I think that's about all I can say.
Yeah, and here's the Toontown Rewritten subreddit. It's reddit.com/r/Toontown Rewritten. This is what it looks like. It has about 1,200 subscribers, and it looks really, really nice. It's a really positive place. I highly recommend you guys check it out as well. And in regards to the convention, as someone who went to OMGCon last year, I would also highly recommend doing your best, if you can, if possible, come to the convention if you're a huge Toontown fan. going to Toontown conventions is honestly just like the coolest thing. Meeting the staff, getting to just kind of have discussions with them one-on-one, kind of even, and meeting other players who share the same interests as you. It really is the coolest thing, and I also think that it's really, really amazing. So yeah, I really can you pick me up on your way to Toonfest? I don't know. I don't think Joey's picking anybody up on his way to Toonfest. I'm sorry. So
My car will be full with all of the supplies.
oh yes. Oh yeah. Real quick, do you want to talk about the merchandise you're selling?
Sure. Yeah, so if you look at the top of Reddit right now, we actually, this year for the convention, we're clearing out some of our old merchandise. We have 3 really big Toontown banners. And, you know, we aren't going to be using them this year. We're getting them replaced with new ones and new stuff for the convention. So instead of just, you know, letting them collect dust or throwing them away or anything, we really wanted to give it to some people who, you know, supportive Toontown fans who will hang it up on their wall or use it for, I told Smirky he could use it as a live stream background.
Right over there. Yep. Which is why I've been outbid twice, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, they're really cool. They're really big. I mean, they're sitting behind me right now, actually. And yeah, so they're on eBay as a fundraiser for the convention. And the money that whatever they get sold for will go straight back into the convention fund to help us buy things for our convention this year. Because believe me when I say we're going all out, more so than years past. So it's going to be awesome.
And just to clarify,
and we appreciate the support.
Some of you are already like, whoa, hold on, money? Wait, what? No, this isn't going towards the game. It's still out of pocket. But this is going towards the convention, which is completely separate from like putting money into the actual game.
Yeah, Smirky is correct. We're not collecting any money. We're not going to be making money off of Toontown Rewritten at all. None of the money that these are going for goes into my pocket. This is for a fundraiser rather than any kind of actual, you know, monetary value that we're getting paid with or anything. You can check the thread for more information about that, though, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
So yeah, I thought that would be kind of cool to show off before Joey left. So you can go to the Reddit, click on the 3 links, place a bid if you want, or just watch the number keep climbing, hopefully, and we support the convention. So that's pretty much it for the Q&A with Sir Max himself as he is circling around the crowd of tunes here endlessly. I don't know when you'll ever stop. But yeah, Mania, you're right. Thank you so much, Joey, for all you do, and thank you for taking some time out of your day to have a Q&A here on the stream. I appreciate it so much, and I appreciate our discussions we've had over the past few days, and hopefully we can maybe do something like this in the future, or just kind of hang out more, I guess. But thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come do the Q&A. I'll be sure to have it up on YouTube later for people to view in case they missed it.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
All right. Everybody say goodbye, Joey, and we will see you later. And good luck on working on your game.
All right. Bye, guys. See you in Toontown.
See you later. Okay, so that's Joey. He's gone now. So the Q&A is officially over. And I thought a lot of great questions were asked by the community. So thank you all so much for asking all of these very insightful questions. A lot of very, very good questions regarding the future of Toontown, content-related questions, current things that need to be fixed. And Rocco, your last question on why he enjoys working on Rewritten the most. Definitely a very, very good question to end it off. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for doing that for us. Yeah, the event was supposed to go until 3 p.m. Pacific, but because you guys asked so many questions, the Q&A got extended another hour. The original plan was to do it for 2 hours, But you guys kept asking questions and made this event lively, so he stayed an extra hour, which I think is awesome. So that wasn't really planned at all. So thank you all so much for allowing Joey to answer all these questions. It's not often that he gets to interact with the community on such a close proximity like that. So I feel like this was a great opportunity for people to get their questions answered. So thank you all so much for leaving the questions on the Reddit page, and keep those questions coming, because Joey himself might actually look back at those questions and answer them himself. So please, please, please be sure that you go ahead and do that. Round of applause, indeed. I felt like that went well. I was unsure how it was going to go, but overall, I felt like that was a really, really fun event. Shout out to the other Toontown Rewritten staff members who have been in the chat and just in the game in general, kind of following along. I really appreciate you guys and all the hard work that you do for the game. You guys are absolutely incredible, and thank you all so, so much for being here and supporting the Toontown community each and every day. And shout out to those of you from other servers as well, who are also staff members of those, who have decided to tune in and get an idea of what's going on in the world of Rewritten, and just a general sense of the Toontown community. I feel like it's important to be respectful of each and every Toontown server. I don't want to like bash on one or negatively say something about the other. Let's see. Hey, Singing Cat, I see you. What's up, Singing Cat? Can I leak the Reddit thread on Twitter? I can do that. Let me go ahead and put that up right now, actually. Here's the Reddit thread with questions that were answered during the Q&A. And there it is. Okay, now it's on Twitter. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. The Bean Fest and the boss runs. Too bad we couldn't get the doodle party to work. I really wanted to see if we could make that happen, but it was unfortunate that it was not able to work, and I'm really, really sorry about that, you guys. Why not put the TTR Reddit URL in your Twitch description? I have put it in Pulse. If you scroll down on the channel, you should be able to see the link there. So, yeah. Thank you, Smurf Murph. And I just want to give something out to the Altus staff real quick. I personally just don't appreciate the things that are being said. I respect the fact that you have your own opinions, and I totally respect that you can give off your own opinions. But I don't appreciate you, you guys, attacking other people. I'm just noticing this. That's part of the reason I left the team, is because of what the team was and the state of the team. I feel like I need to say that, because I'm noticing a lot of disrespectful comments towards other people. So please, you can say what you want about Toontown Rewritten, but don't attack other people in my chat. I don't allow that. So please stop. I respect the Altus team. I really do. But I don't respect the fact that they're attacking other people based off what they have to, based off their opinions, right? They have their own opinions about TTR. Let them be. I don't see a reason to be attacking them. And even if you're not with TTPA staff, Darwin, you don't need to be attacking other people either. I can ban you right now if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. So I'm just saying, my goal is to create a positive environment in my streams. When people aren't promoting a positive environment, that's where things can get a little shaky. So I'm just giving you guys a warning. Please don't attack other people. That's disrespectful, and just, it doesn't look good on you. And I say this as people are, I mean, yeah, you guys can say what you want. Like, your opinions are welcome here. But what I don't appreciate is when you attack other people for what they think as well. And if you think that's complete BS, that's totally cool. That's all you. But I just felt like saying that statement real quick. Just in general, like, if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, just know that it's really important to respect other people's opinions and not attack them for what they have to say. That's a problem in our world just in general today. It's become a huge issue where people attack each other, and you know, people are always arguing for what they feel like is right and not even listening to what another person feels like is right. And that's where a lot of, like, disembodiment comes from, where things start falling apart because people just don't know how to respect other people's opinions and treat each other with respect. So I felt like just kind of making that statement. So I'm just basing it off of what I saw in the chat a few moments ago. And, you know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Okay, cool. But I'm basing it off what I saw. So, and just like a first impression and stuff like that. So, yeah. Can we do a final VP CFO? You know, I feel like I'm gonna end the stream right here. As much as I would love to hang out with you guys even more, I feel like I'm gonna call it here and just kind of chill for a little. I'll be around on Toontown throughout the day. My next stream should be tomorrow. I will be streaming. Actually, if you guys haven't seen it yet, I started up a new stream schedule. I do streams on a tentative schedule. If you scroll down on the stream or look in the panel, you should be able to see the schedule. Tomorrow, I have it scheduled for like 1 p.m. Pacific, I think. So around the same time. Just look at my schedule to know when I go live. I take Tuesdays and Thursdays off, and then the rest of the days I try to stream. So we'll see how it goes. So I hope you guys are excited for where Toontown streams. If you're not already, be sure you're following the stream. All you have to do is click that follow button. If you want to come back to more streams, I would greatly appreciate it. A lot of you guys followed today. I am very, very happy for that. I wish I could acknowledge you all when you followed, but I wanted to respect what Joey had to say on certain questions. Shout out to those of you who donated and hosted as well. I really appreciate that. Oh, and the one Game Wisp sub that we got today, the beginning Smirkster. Thank you so much if you're still here. Like, I really, really, really appreciate it. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for coming out. Again, if you want to come out to more streams, be sure to follow. That's pretty much it from my end, as I voice crack my way off of Twitch today. We're gonna go raid somebody who's streaming Toontown real quick, so let me find somebody before we all leave. We're gonna find someone to raid, so get excited. This is something I like to do all the time, where I basically, host somebody and give back to the community so we can, ensure that a lot of people, can just discover new streamers, and I always love to do this. Alyssa TTR, thank you so much for the follow, my friend. Welcome to the Smirksters as your follow goes out of the jar. I appreciate it. You're awesome. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Let's see. Who's streaming right now? I'm the only one streaming Toontown. So instead, we're gonna go raid Mega Snoop, who's streaming Wizard 101 right now, and we're gonna go show him some love. Great friend of mine. He deserves so much, a lot more than I do. So please go share some love with Mega Snoop. He's playing Wizard 101, so if you guys have any interest in that game, please, please, please share him some love. Until then, guys, thank you so much for coming out to the stream and this special Q&A with Sir Max and Joey himself. Thank you all for coming. I will see you guys on the next stream. Until then, smirk on, and I will see you next time. Have a fantastic day. See you later.